Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to KUMBTV. It is Eyes Up, Mother Brown. We are here live for West Ham United versus Liverpool. Possibly the biggest Premier League match of the weekend, especially if you're discounting that rubbish yesterday between Arsenal and Manchester United that ended up goalless and sent everybody watching to sleep. I'm joined this afternoon, delighted to be joined this afternoon by Rio, by Gnome, and imminently the Pink Palermo will be joining us. It's running a little bit late this afternoon. But about 25, 26 minutes until kickoff. We're going to get straight into it as usual with Gnome bringing us the teams. Gnome, how are the two sides lining up this afternoon, buddy?
Well, starting off with us, we're completely unchanged, right down to the 9 gentlemen on the bench as well. So we line up, as follows. Fabianski, Soufal, Dawson, Ogbonna, Cresswell, Souček, Rice, Bowen, Benrahma, Fornals and Antonio. And on the bench, Balbuena, Yarmolenko, Lanzini, Noble, Diop, Fredericks, Martin, Johnston and Odebeko. Visitors, a few changes. Most significant of which is the absence of Mane, who has, we are told, a, quote, minor muscle injury, unquote. And they also dropped Firmino to the racing car seats. So they line up as follows. Alisson, Alexander-Arnold, Phillips, Henderson, Robertson, Thiago, Wijnaldum, Milner, Shaqiri, Origi and Salah. On the bench, Firmino, welcome back to Adrian, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Jones, Minamino, Tsimikas. Then there are 2 Williamses, Reece and Nico and Kelleher. Referee today is Mr. John Moss.
Okay, thank you, Gnome. John Moss, friend of West Ham's or not in the past, Gnome?
He's not well respected within the fraternity, apparently. He did get an FA Cup final almost by default a few years ago. I can't remember which one it was, but he was the only referee left who hadn't actually done a cup final before, who didn't have any sort of connection to the two teams. And the usual thing with Liverpool, I think he gave a decision against them 5 years ago or something, and all the local newspapers up there are going on about how everyone's unimpressed with the appointment, thus immediately putting a bit of pressure on him, usual mind games. So we wait and see. He's not very good, but then who is amongst that lot?
I'm just wondering now, do we know of any of the PGMOL referees that are West Ham fans? Have any ever come out and said they are Hammers that you're aware of?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, going back in the day, I think Durso used to be on the youth that used to set up and get kicked out and kept making us pay for it every time we got him. And nobody's ever come out of them. There seems to be a bit of a trend as well. Some referees declare themselves to be supporters of teams that are either non-league or well down the leagues, which sort of avoids sort of any hassles, Yeah. So, but I'm not aware of any, but there may be.
Well, let's hope Mr. Moss is favourable to the Hammers this afternoon. Of course, we're probably owed one this season, Rio, as far as VAR goes in matches against Liverpool, given what happened at Anfield earlier in the season.
I think we're owed more than one, aren't we? It's about 3 or 4 that we've got in our book. We're owed a penalty all season. Not had a penalty all season. I think the only Premiership club not to have one.
Yep.
We deserve one. I think they go on merit now. Apparently, Manchester United, Manchester and Liverpool, Man City all get them on merit. Judging by our performances in our league position, we're due at least one today.
You think so?
A solid refereeing performance. Although the other night I thought the ref had a good game, but we're a top 6 side. We should be getting things our way for a change. We don't have that ever.
Should be due a penalty as well, really, shouldn't we? I guess.
Yeah, at least two. At least 2.
There you go. West Ham owed. The Hammers owed something then. Yeah, of course, as Rio points out, the only The only team in the Premier League not to be awarded a penalty so far this season, which, given we've played 20 games so far, and we've frequently had a lot of dodgy collisions and challenges inside the penalty box, it seems a little bit harsh, but you never know. Would we get one against Liverpool today? We will see. We will see what will happen. Joining us live from underneath the boomerang. Glad to see he's joined us a little bit later than usual, but good to see you, Pinky. How you doing, buddy?
I'm not saying sorry for being late. I don't do that
no.
at work, so I'm sure as shit not doing it here. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah.
There you go. How you doing, buddy? Are you all right? You good?
Yeah, doing good. And actually, unusually, really looking forward to a game against Liverpool this afternoon.
Well, yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? It's really, we've had a great last few weeks, and here we are. I mean, we were all quite frightened, I think, going into that game at Anfield, but here we are looking at possibly a win. What do you reckon, Pinky?
Yeah, this is the first time I can actually recall on an 11 versus 11 basis, players on the pitch, where we actually start a game against Liverpool with the edge.
Okay.
I actually think our starting 11 today is slightly stronger than theirs. Hopefully that doesn't put the kibosh on us, but I fancy a win today. I think 2-1 has been floating around in my head. We can see that the danger that Souček and Ogbonna, Dawson maybe could place, with a header from a set piece. And is that right that Liverpool have got Jordan Henderson at centre back today, or have Sockaway called it wrong?
Yeah,
no, I believe they have. I believe he's been playing there for the last couple of weeks, hasn't he?
He played there, certainly the game they won the other day against Spurs. He was partnered up with, was it Matip, I think it was, to start off with, who promptly went and did his ankle. And so the other guy in there they've got is Nat Phillips, who's, I say youngster, his early 20s, but, must be about their 10th, 15th different partnership or something this season there. So,
led to rumours, of course, in the last 48 hours that Issa Diop may potentially be a transfer target for the Scousers. Gnome, what do you make of that one?
Well, from a footballing point of view, why would you lend a team that at the moment are your closest league rivals a player? And but on the other hand, given the ownership, it's the sort of thing I could quite see them doing. It's tomorrow, isn't it? Is it tomorrow or Tuesday?
Yes, Monday evening, 11 p.m.
So let's go and put a jam on all the phones around the offices at the stadium, and so nobody can ring. And lest somebody come with a £200 million bid for Rice, who, as we keep telling everybody, is absolutely rubbish. Don't bother. It's simply not worth the money. And we'll keep saying that for another 24 hours, and then.
Yeah, well, it seems Chelsea are almost certainly out the race, which was, I guess, the biggest fear for many West Ham supporters. Pinky's going for a 2-1 win today. No, what do you see happening here today? Think we can win this? Yeah,
I do, which is worrying. In a sort of slightly perverse way. Every time you think that you're going to do something great at West Ham, there's something comes to bite you on the backside, and I've just got a funny feeling that the curse of the Liverpool refereeing will they'll get something that will level it up. But I still think a draw's okay. I think draw's on. So I've got a prompt for a 2-2 draw, I think.
2-2. Okay, good stuff. Yeah. Rio, what are you thinking in terms of the scoreline this afternoon? Do you agree with Pinky? Think we can pull this one off and make it 7 in a row and emulate that fantastic run in 1985?
We all know that good things at West Ham very rarely last, but I'm more confident than I've ever been against Liverpool.
Wow!
And it's very unnerving. It's unnatural. It's a little bit scary, but I'm going to go for a 3-1 win. When I saw their lineup. Nothing to do with Henderson at centre-back, because history is littered with us playing teams with players out of position, and they have the stormer, like Carrick when he played at centre-half again. We've had numerous occasions of that. I just think they look kind of weak up front as well. You know, I mean, I'm not a massive fan of Origi. Salah surely can't get away with the kind of the dives and. I was going to swear on live there, but I've just held myself back. He won't get away with his nonsense, hopefully, again today. So I'm going 3-1. That performance from us the other night has really buoyed us, and I don't care what Liverpool did against Tottenham. We all know Tottenham are almost as worse as Declan Rice.
Well, yeah, of course. Scoring 3 goals against Spurs is sort of de rigueur, isn't it, this season?
Yeah, everyone does it
for decent Premier League teams at the new stadium. Okay, so we've got Pinky going for a 2-1 win, Rio going for a 3-1 win, Gnome going for a 2-2 draw. So I suppose I'm going to offer a little balance to the predictions, and I'll go for a Liverpool win today. I can't get away from the fact that we're playing a Liverpool team that always gets decisions. And, you know, they've got a striker there that always seems to win penalties in the most bizarre circumstances. And I agree with what Preview Percy said in his match preview earlier this week on KUMB, that, you know, you're probably going to have to get 2 goals to beat them. I don't know. I just see that the run coming to a glorious end this afternoon, but I do hope I'm wrong and you guys are right. And of course, that wouldn't be the first time. Hellos to everybody joining us on the live stream this afternoon. To Andy, to Steve, to David, to Hobo, to Polaroid, to Richard, to everybody else. Gentlemen, before we get into the football, we've got to get the important things out of the way. Rio, what's the T-shirt this afternoon, buddy?
This is a Discarnate. It's a death metal band from out of Horsham, I think, in Sussex. Only 3 albums, but a very good, solid British band, and a big fan of them. Very good live. You missed the one the other night, I'll have to point out. You didn't mention it. Okay, I made a special effort on that one as well. I was gutted about it.
What was the
opposition. It was a Backwards Payback, right? And was the band. Yeah. But I thought, because we're playing Palace, you all know that's a bit backwards down there, and we owed them a bit of payback, which we delivered in spades.
My apologies for refraining from mentioning that on Tuesday. No, we've had a comment on yours. Andy Walsh says recognises the T-shirt. Obviously, another prog rocker on the stream this afternoon. Tell us about it.
Man, Andy. Yeah, this is the IQ Christmas Bash T-shirt from the gig that should have happened back in December, but didn't. And the IQ thing is a bit like a family. The band's been going. This year it's the band's 40th anniversary, and the IQ thing's a bit more like family. You know, I've got you know, it really is family. People I sort of know and love, but I've known through IQ, and so this is the T-shirt from the gig that never was. What they did was they streamed an old one and had a bit like on here with the chat and everything, and everybody missing each other who hadn't seen each other in years. And so there you go. IQ Christmas back. I've got dozens of IQ T-shirts. I've got drawers full of IQ stuff upstairs. So I think I'll have to start. I mean, in fact, nobody's ever twigged actually, but I think it's a running joke between me and Preview Percy. But there's always an IQ mention every week somewhere in the Preview Percy thing, and nobody's spotted it yet. So if anyone spots it, then you get a doff of the cap. I'm not giving away prizes.
There you go, Pinky. And we can't leave you out, buddy. Well, who are you wearing this afternoon over underneath the boomerang there?
A plain blue T-shirt. All right.
Never heard of them.
I mean, what are you, like 5 years old or something?
Never heard of them. Plain blue who?
You know, dodgy death metal bands or whatever it is that Rio's listening to. Not in my day. What's wrong with Fleetwood Mac or the Eagles? Something really edgy like that.
There you go. In case you were wondering how old the gentlemen on this stream are, that's probably giving you some indication. Staying on the musical analogy, I suppose you could say. Looking at the Liverpool team, it's Enter Shaqiri, of course, coming into
Shaqiri,
What about that? What a link! What a link that is coming into the team. I'm a big fan of his Pinky. When he used to play with Arnautovic down at Stoke, I thought it was a great little player. Was it Bayern he came from originally when he went down to the Potteries?
Possibly, yeah. And he's one of those players who, dare I say it, at a lesser club is a folk hero, a cult hero.
Yeah.
Is an ooh and an ah kind of player.
Yeah, yeah.
You need more than that at Liverpool to start every week. Yeah, because actually most of their players, most of the time, would be ooh and ah players, and it's a case of what else you got. Yeah. So I actually found he was a strange signing for Liverpool.
Yeah.
You can understand why the player would jump at a chance, with what a lovely part of the world it is and that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, maybe he wanted his house broken into when he was playing a game, that sort of thing. But for me, he's at the wrong club because he's never going to be a superstar there. Whereas at a different club, he'd probably get a lot more game time, probably be a lot more appreciated by the support.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a player that can win you a game. But do you know what? Even if he was at West Ham, I wouldn't be giving him 90 minutes every week. He's effectively, the posh Yarmolenko. He's your Hail Mary play. Bring him on with 20 to go. Can he make something happen?
Yeah.
And I have to say, is that really what you want as a professional footballer, to be known as that player? I don't know. I think he'd be better off going to a different club and playing longer every week. Just a view. So you watch him score the winner today.
Yes, you can see it now, can't you? As I say, I've long been a big fan of his. I thought he was fantastic with Arnautovic down at Stoke. I thought they formed a fabulous relationship. But I think that's a very, very good point that you make, that he is kind of like your classic highlights reel player, isn't he? He can score a wonderful free kick or a beautiful goal from long range, but over 90 minutes, maybe not. So anyway, let's hope.
He's no Kenny Dalglish, is he? That's well, there you go.
He certainly isn't. He certainly is not the great Kenny Dalglish. It's a 70s show today, in case you hadn't noticed. And talking of 70s, keeping the theme going, Rob Young apparently is wearing his 1973 David Cassidy T-shirt this afternoon, while Rick Shaw is wearing his ABBA sequined cardigan. Wonderful stuff. What a beautifully dressed bunch of chaps we are today. Rio. Looking at that Liverpool team, obviously we've spoken about Shaqiri there. Where's the main danger coming from? I mean, obviously you've got Salah in there, but you've got the evergreen James Milner pulling the strings in midfield. Wijnaldum, very, very good midfielder. Origi. Now Origi's a very interesting player, isn't he? Scores goals, scored some important goals, scored some Champions League goals, of course, for Liverpool, but never seems to get in the team. But who are you sort of most worried about looking at that team out there today?
I think obviously Salah's got to be the one for me, because not only have you got the bag of tricks, the deceitful tricks as well, and the finishing ability, but he does get the rub of the green with the refereeing decisions. Wijnaldum is just full of energy and full of running, and he's been in decent form. I know there's a bit of a contract dispute between him and the club.
Right.
So I think this season he's been trying to make a bit of a stand and make a bit of an impact on the pitch. So those two are the real dangers for me. Origi is one that doesn't really impress me on a regular basis. He always seems to me more suited for European football, and he's got a little bit more time, a little bit more space, and he's not got someone man marking him, which hopefully Ogbonna or Dawson will do it today and stay really close to him. He seems to thrive on that little bit more time. And I think he's been there, 5 or 6 years? And as you say, he's never forced himself into a starting position. And I think he'll be moving on pretty soon. I know there's been a few rumours about him joining us.
Well, as we were saying, talking about... Sorry,
I'm not over the moon about that, because I just don't... It's another thing, when you drop down from Liverpool, and I say drop down, I mean, obviously the one place in the league table, but you drop down from Liverpool to West Ham, and a lot of these players doing that think they can walk into the club and be the big I am, think they own the place, and they don't work hard enough, and they don't think they've got anything to prove. Origi, for me, has still got a lot to prove in football. a hell of a lot.
Yeah, given that, Rio, and bearing in mind what you've just said there, what do you make of Jesse Lingard's arrival this week?
I said the other night, I wasn't keen on it, but I've got to trust the manager because, barring the Jordan Hugill fiasco at the very start of his first reign, he hasn't put a foot wrong in the transfer market. And if he's a player that he's identified and he wants and he trusts and he thinks he can get the best out of, then fair play to him. I just worry about Lingard's lack of football, his personal issues. And again, that kind of dropping down from a so-called bigger club to us, does it impact them? But yeah, you've got to trust the manager at the end of the day. And he's been proven to be successful in the market, hasn't he? So fair play to him.
Have you figured out the sign yet? Is it something like that? The JL that he does?
No, I'm just like strictly. I know you're not a big metal fan, but I just do the devil horns and say, get on with it, mate. Yeah.
He doesn't do one of those sort of silly things, does he?
Have you not seen it? Have you not seen it? It's look at the hands. It's kind of like a J and an L. Yeah, can you get that?
Hope he never gets off the bench. Sorry, but I mean, I'm not having any of that rubbish. Heavens above. Some of this lot need to grow up. They really do. They're like 10-year-olds playing football.
Talking about daft things that footballers do. I noticed yesterday when I was watching Match of the Day that Zaha has shaved off the little balls on the top of his head or whatever. I suspect that we were not alone in giving him stick over that, and that the stick he got in the changing room was sufficient to get that changed. Be pleased to know he did, from what I could see anyway from the highlights. He did spend the whole game sulking as usual, so it didn't affect him in that way. Yeah,
for those
who glad you phrased that right now.
Sorry,
because I'm just glad you actually phrased that right and didn't say like Zaha shaved his balls, because that would have been all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, I wouldn't have that knowledge. I'll bet you're superior on that.
The balls, of course, being referenced here were the 4 balls on top of Zaha's head that we couldn't quite make out what was going on Tuesday night with the haircut. And of course, how he managed to have it done during lockdown, but that's another matter entirely. Head to head, West Ham v Liverpool. I don't think there's much point in going around the panel and asking you guys who you think's won the most between the two teams over the years. I can tell you it's rather heavily weighted in Liverpool's favour, this one, and probably more so than any other club, I would guess, in the entire football pyramid. There have been 38 draws, I can tell you that much, as the players enter the stadium on our screens. 38 draws over the years. West Ham have also won 28 times since the teams first met way back in. Or when was the first meeting between the sides? February 1914, a 1-1 FA Cup draw at Upton Park. Unfortunately, Liverpool have won on 75 occasions since then, meaning that we owe them 1 or 2, of course. But of course, the boys here are very confident. I wonder how confident you guys are watching on the live stream. Let us know your match predictions as we see the boys come out onto the pitch, led by Michail Antonio. It looks like Saeed Benrahma seems to be praying to a higher entity that the Hammers can pull this one off this afternoon. I'm looking at that West Ham team, Gnome. Any surprises for you, or is it, it's Pinky said it the other day, didn't he? It kind of picks itself now.
It does. Right down to the 9 on the bench. You're talking about Lingard, it's going to be interesting to see where he gets in. I think that bench would the only changes that are going to happen to that bench anytime soon. I think Randolph might replace Martin if and when he's fit, and you could perhaps see Lingard coming in for Odebeku. But that's the first team, that's the backup. I don't know what the latest is on Arthur.
Yeah, of course, this is a good question. Where does Masuaku fit in when he comes back?
Yeah,
we're expecting him to be back in March, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, when he comes back, it's I think we get to pick the team a little bit more on a horses for courses basis.
Whether
or not we have Cresswell employed in the middle with Arthur out on the left, which was working very, very well until after his untimely injury. So, but as I say, we've got to keep everyone else fit as well, which, yeah, it's unusual just having 2 people in the injury room at the moment. It's one of those is only a backup goalkeeper. You know, it's very unusual for us.
Yeah, very, very much so. Pinky, on that issue, you know, the left back slot. I mean, it was funny, wasn't it? At the start of the season, everybody was castigating Aaron Cresswell, saying that he was finished at left back, could never play there again. Of course, forced to play there since Masuaku's injury, and you know, has been imperious, quite frankly. And he's been superb.
Yeah, largely depends on how hard the people in front of you are working. You know, and you know, a struggling fullback with somebody in front of them that doesn't do their job looks an awful lot worse. The one thing that's really impressed me with this version of the David Moyes 11 is the work rate and the application of every single player that gets picked. If you're not willing to run your socks off for the team, you're not getting picked by David Moyes. It's that simple. And I think the fact that Cresswell now, you know, will have players in front of him that will actually track back, do some of the dog work, actually makes Cresswell look a bit of a better player. What we have missed, though, with the shift to Cresswell going to a conventional fullback role, is he isn't doing as many crosses in the attacking third as he was when we had Arthur with him, and we kind of missed that to some extent. We're underway, by the way, but overall, yeah, the one perverse thought I had just as they just put up the Liverpool team there is, am I the only one who, when they put up a picture of Jurgen Klopp, thinks he looks like a U-boat commander? I'm sorry, but I know that's stereotyping. It's probably a bit naughty, but he just looks like one.
That's sub. Well,
you're not missing anything anyway. Wijnaldum just clutched his head. He had a clash of heads with Souček. Souček thought nothing of it. Wijnaldum just went down like a sack of spuds. But he's up again now and plays resumed. But it was how hard is Souček there? I mean, Wijnaldum clutching head, Souček walked away.
How are we?
Time check. Oh, hang on.
Yeah. How are we doing? No, where are you?
Well, I'll do that in a second as Liverpool are trying to push forward. But it's all come to nothing. I'm on 1 minute, 14 seconds.
Okay. I'm about 15 seconds behind you. Then, guys, are you in line with Gnome?
Yeah, I'm up to date with Gnome.
Yeah,
okay, good
likewise.
Stuff. Good stuff. So we are underway. West Ham United versus Liverpool. An opportunity for the Hammers to return to 4th place in the table with a win here today. Just looking at yesterday's results, it was a real strange result up at Goodison Park. A most unexpected win for Steve Bruce's side. Did us a favour, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's been such a wretched run of form. To pull that one out of the bag is quite remarkable and eases the pressure on Bruce a little bit. And also today's game has put the cat amongst the pigeons as well, isn't it? The Leicester result. There's 2 big results for us. If only Danny Ings' last-minute equaliser had stood, we would have had a perfect weekend.
We've just seen Liverpool with a corner. Gnome, over to you.
Robertson went down the left. The corner got blocked out. Corner to Liverpool. It's very nearly placed in the quadrant, just right on the edge as they do these days. Corner, outswinger, very poor. Doesn't beat the first play. Referee gets in the way, and that will be drop ball to West Ham. Yeah, very, very poor corner for Robertson. Really, nothing to be said more than that. It was short, cleared, and there's a lot of Jonathan Moss, by the way. So it's probably more difficult to get the ball past him than it is to hit him. So.
Couple of minutes gone. No goals. The first sort of attack coming from Liverpool. I'm just sort of going between my streams to see if I can find a quicker one, but I can't at the moment, so we'll stick with that one. Rio, just coming back very quickly to that. Yeah, you mentioned Danny Ings. I mean, God, if you were a Southampton fan, you'd be absolutely furious, wouldn't you? Especially given the handball decision in the first half there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you judge. It's back to the VAR thing again. it's not working. If you're being disallowed goals because your sleeve is a fraction offside, there's something wrong with football.
Oh, hang on.
No.
Absolute rubbish. Sorry, we were in a good position there. Ball came, flicked through the cross from the right-hand side, flicked through to Fornells, who was one over at the back. But he sort of elected to pull it back to the edge of the box, so there was nobody there. So they were able to bring it away. Shame, because that was a good position there. Might have been worth taking a swing at.
Yeah, looking at that, wrong choice, wasn't it? Really, no. I mean, the chance was on, surely. But anyway, not to worry. 4 minutes gone. West Ham 0, Liverpool 0. Both sides seem to be trading blows fairly equally so far in the opening stages of this game. Pinky, yeah, that what did you make of that Danny Ings decision yesterday? I mean, it was a farce, wasn't it, to give that offside?
Absolutely absurd. I mean, you talk about the game being gone. My only shock is the relatively meek way in which people accepted it. Yeah. I mean, I'd have been laying the referee out and either with Stockley Park or wherever that is, and just finding whichever idiot said that's offside, because how can people watching on a video screen?
Can I call you back?
Yeah, possibly determined to that level where they say, well, if you're in a long sleeve shirt, that's is down here. Yeah. If you've got a 3/4 length shirt, well, that's the cut-off point. Pretty soon we'll have people wearing vest singlets onto the pitch just to say, well, okay, that way then, you can't actually, because none of the arm then would be offside. It's absolutely absurd. And for my money, VAR has got to go, because it is now being used to determine matches in a way that it was never intended. And until they actually get some very clear guidance for people about what they're supposed to do, it's just going to ruin matches. Imagine if the league title was being decided on that yesterday. Nonsense.
Well, yeah. I mean, of course, there was, in a sense, the relegation issue was decided by it last season, wasn't it? Because Villa obviously benefited from that decision against Sheffield United. I think it was Sheffield, wasn't it? When the ball was clearly over 9, and that point that they gave for that match would have otherwise seen them relegated. But anyway, some dodgy decisions. We hope we don't see any this afternoon. We have Gnome, however, seen the shot for Liverpool. First effort of the game there. Don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, sorry. Just as it was happening, my mum elected to call me. It's the usual thing. She switches on her mobile phone sort of once a year or something, and sees a missed call from when I tried to call her 6 weeks ago. Rings back and said, "Did you just call me?" So sorry about that. I did see the shot. It was sliced wide. It was Origi, was it? Yeah. It was sliced wide, but So apologies on behalf of my mum, who will be severely chastised when I speak to her later on. And interesting sort of thing that Pinky was saying about the offside thing, and you're saying that teams will be reduced to wearing singlets. Well, maybe a few years back now, but Cameroon unveiled a kit which was basically had no sleeves, and this was eventually banned by FIFA, who made a change to rules to say that kits, shirts ought to have sleeves, and they banned Cameroon from wearing it in a tournament, which it was suggested that all FIFA's hang on, we'll come back to that. That cross block from the left and West Ham bring away, but not. Oh, that's a terrible shot. Shot from the edge of the box, and not quite sure, was that Wijnaldum? Basically put it miles over the bar. Just to get back, the Cameroon were really annoyed. The FA's were up in arms about it all. All FIFA's contracts were with Adidas. Cameroon's kit were made by Puma, which was basically Adidas hadn't thought the idea first, so had a few words with FIFA. That's why now it all says in the rules that kits have got to have sleeves.
There you go. Welcome to our Liverpool supporting streamers this afternoon. Seems to be 1 or 2 Liverpool fans on there. Good to have you with us. We hope you go away thoroughly miserable by the time this match ends, of course. But you know, feel free to join in as long as you keep it friendly. We're quite happy to have you here. Gnome.
Sorry, Antonio, one of his beastly runs down the left, got the cross in, and it was cleared by Liverpool, who've brought it away. But first time we've seen Antonio on the run, and it's quite an open game at the moment.
Yeah,
you know, as you'd expect, Liverpool are sort of tried to sort of push forward, but you know, we're looking dealing with them fairly confidently and looking good on the break. And that run from Antonio augurs well as Liverpool lose possession and Bowen takes it away.
Rio, tactically, you know, we're 9 minutes into the game now, still 0-0. Liverpool 2 shots so far. West Ham still yet to create an effort at goal. But what are you noticing tactically about this so far? Any changes from West Ham to sort of counter what Liverpool might be offering?
No, I mean, for my money, we're sitting far too deep and giving far too much respect to the moment.
Yeah,
I know the league champions. I know they're still a decent side, obviously, but with their deficiencies at the back, we should be pressing a little bit higher and making them work a little bit more. We've been a bit slack on the ball, surrendered possession a couple of times, but for me, we're just sitting far too deep at the moment. I know we played this kind of way earlier in the season. The last few weeks when we've been more on the front foot, you know, against lesser opposition, we've looked far more effective. Yeah, it's put a little bit of worry in my mind, to be honest.
Okay, well, we'll see how that develops. Just interesting there, Pinky, that break from West Ham, that cross from Antonio. Clearly the target there, Souček, but well marshalled on that occasion by the Liverpool defence. Yeah,
and, you know, I mean, for all our confidence about we're playing Liverpool and a weakened Liverpool at that, they're not a pub team. You know, let's. I think we need to be clear. You know, this is not going to be a 5-0 romp. And in fairness, thus far, Liverpool have had the lion's share of possession. But you know, it's early days yet, and I still think this is something we'll get a positive result from. So, yeah, but it'll be hard work. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, very much so. And Michail Antonio, making hard work of a decent opportunity as it turned out there, just not finding the final ball.
Yeah, he tried to lay it off, and it wasn't a run anybody was looking at making. And it was, sorry, just Soufal's gone in, superb tackle there. Yeah, I think Antonio probably had a little bit of time if he wanted to sort of hold that ball up and lay it off rather than just try and turn it around the corner there, which was that was me going, you know, because it was a promising position. 4-0, it was a nice ball in, looking dangerous going forward again. So
yeah, good stuff. Big challenge coming in there from, I think it was Dawson, actually, if we're referring to the same incident. Yeah. But what a brilliant challenge. Put Origi up in the air. Origi looked to the referee to ask for a free kick, but clearly nothing happening. Craig Dawson, Rio, been immense for West Ham. This is a real test for him today, isn't it?
Superb. Unlucky. Lovely little flick from Benrahma out on the touchline to lose his man, but the follow-up ball was blocked out. But nice little touch there.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Rio. Big test for Dawson today. Been magnetic. I mean, we've just seen a fantastic touch there from Benrahma, which didn't quite come off. But yeah, Craig Dawson, magnificent so far.
Yeah, no.
Pinnacle
in his West Ham career so far, it's probably his biggest test, I reckon.
Yeah.
But so far, so good early days. But we really just got to be on our guard, haven't we? You know, you just know that they can spring something from nowhere at times. And he's got to be really careful when dealing with Salah, because we all know that, I'll keep referring to this, but we all know that Mo likes to dive in, and a little bit of an easy fall over, doesn't he? So I think Craig's got to be really, really kind of wary of the dark arts of Mo Salah creeping in.
Big midfield battle in there today. Pinky, Declan Rice, Thomas Souček up against Wijnaldum and Milner, but not much evidence of, you know, the ball being played centrally so far. It's all been played quite a lot down the flanks as far as Liverpool's attacking moves are concerned. We're just seeing them build here now.
Yeah, and you know, again, I've just described as Liverpool as not being a pub team. Well, neither are West Ham United, and Souček and Rice there. You wouldn't think their most obvious tactic would be to play it through the middle, because I don't think they'd get an awful lot of change out of it. You know, I mean, for me here this afternoon, Salah is their main threat for me, because he's just got that little bit of something, whether it's blinding pace, which I think he's pretty quick, or whether it's just the fact that he can finish. And if you said the difference between the sides in terms of attacking threat, Salah is a much better finisher than Antonio. You know, Salah will need fewer chances than Antonio will need, to get the same number of goals, and that's the main difference in terms of real quality, where Liverpool would have an edge today. But for me, I'm noticing that we're basically going 5 across the back at times here. So Fornals is dropping super deep to be alongside Cresswell. I'm not seeing great threats from Liverpool. It's competitive, but has Fabianski really had a save to make yet? After quarter of an hour?
No, I don't think either goalkeepers had a save to make yet, have they? We did just see Gnome a few moments ago, Liverpool's first corner of the game, but Soufal coping with that admirably at the near post.
It was their second, but it was exactly the same result as the first. They didn't get it past. Robertson spent ages taking the placing the ball on the precise blade of grass for the optimum crossing, and then put it straight to good cross in from Liverpool there, but well watched. We're a little bit sloppy with the ball at the moment, and when we're getting when we're getting the ball, we're not keeping on hold of it enough for me. Rice has just given away a free kick, which is taken quickly, but the referee won't like that. He's going to make him take it again. That all stemmed from where we should have got the ball clear. That was a Dawson clearance, and just went over the top of Thiago Rice, who did the obligatory clutching ahead until the whistle went. And is now up. So free kick to Liverpool, about nearly 30 yards out, slightly right of centre, so it'll be crossed in rather than a shot. Alexander-Arnold and Robertson are over it. Alexander-Arnold plays the ball in. Header comes out to the edge of the box, shot in from Thiago, but it's blocked, and there's a foul on Soufal, and it'll be a free kick to West Ham.
Okay, West Ham hanging on here at the moment a little bit, but Rio, was that a free kick for you? That the Liverpool one, Declan Rice penalised for going over the top of Thiago, I think it was. But it's one of those, isn't it? If you've played the game, you just stand there, and the player's going to go over the top. Even I think he might have backed into him a little bit. Yeah,
they're the masters of exuding that foul from us, though, aren't they? So it was always going to end up in a Liverpool free kick. As soon as Declan left his feet, it's always going to be a free kick for them. I'm just a bit worried at the moment because I said we was a bit sloppy in possession when we did have it, but our clearances haven't been the greatest, and we're giving it back to them far too close to our goal at times. We've really got to sharpen up with our defensive work at the moment.
What's going wrong for you here at the moment, really? I mean, West Ham struggling a little bit. We're not seeing Bowen get involved an awful lot. I mean, we've barely seen Fornals on the ball, of course. How do we get the wide men into the game?
At the moment, we're just sitting far too. I mean, the midfield is sitting far too close to the defence, so there's no real outlet. I mean, Antonio's stranded up on his own.
Yeah,
the ball's going to just come back to us all the time. But we're making it easy for them. But with our defensive clearances, our possession has been pretty poor all round. We look incredibly nervous, and we shouldn't be, because we should be buzzing. We should be full of confidence. But it's just something that seems amiss at the moment. And someone needs to get hold of the ball for at least a minute or so, just to settle us down, play some nice, simple passes, and ease us into the game a little bit.
18 minutes gone. West Ham United 0, Liverpool 0. Liverpool, probably it's fair to say that the better team in the open exchanges. They have had 77% possession of the ball so far, which, of course, as we often say, doesn't mean a great deal. It's how many goals you score that count ultimately. But Liverpool have 3 shots so far to West Ham's 0 and a couple of corners to boot as well. Gnome looking a little bit exasperated there as Liverpool pushing forward.
Yeah, just the exasperation was from Benrahma. Was it Benrahma or Bayern? I can't remember now. But
yeah, Benrahma.
Basically played a ball wide down the ring, down the wing for Antonio. I think Antonio thought he may have been offside and didn't bother to go for it. But you know, had the execution and Antonio's run been better, that might have been a bad ball. And that's what we've got to be looking to play the channels where Antonio can get on the ball. That one, you know, he'd have needed a motorbike to catch it up, to be honest, even if he'd been onside. But yeah, there's I mean, there's a lot of hard work going on. It's just what we do with it in possession. Yeah. If we keep possession, we don't have to work so hard. It's simple as that.
Very much.
Yeah. So.
Okay, well, we'll see how things develop. I mean, Pinky, it strikes me this is one of those games right now, or we're at one of those points in the game where it's just a case of, as we often say, just get your foot on the ball and retain for possession for 30 to 60 seconds and just regroup a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's give Liverpool some credit though, in terms of they're working their socks off to when we are in possession to try and get the ball back off us. And when they have the ball, they've always got 2 or 3 options available in terms of who to pass to. They're a well-coached team, but they're not the team they were this time last year. And I think that's our best hope, is the sense of they've kind of gone past that peak, which they achieved last year. And with the injury list that they've got at the minute, this is not a great Liverpool team, but it is a functional, hard-working, well-disciplined side. But not with the absolute quality that they've had about a year ago. So, for my money, foot on the ball, try and hang on to it, try and slow the game down a little bit, I'd suggest. And if that means when we've got the ball, we just play half a dozen passes across the back line and don't attempt to penetrate them, just to calm Liverpool down and just say, do you know what? We can play square passes all afternoon as well,
Ironically, perhaps as we've been talking about that, we've just seen West Ham pretty much do exactly that for the last 90 seconds. We have now conceded possession, but the Hammers finally getting their foot on the ball. Going back to the point you make, I think one thing you can always say about a Klopp side is that they are always very, very well drilled, and they've all done their research.
U-boats usually are. I mean, they don't wait for anyone. When they leave port, they go. I've seen that program on the telly about the U-boat things. Yeah.
West Ham United 0, Liverpool 0, 21 and a half minutes gone. Rio, we're just saying that West Ham need to get our foot on the ball, and once again, we're back with 10 men sort of asking Liverpool to come on to us and waiting to pick up the scraps and break from there, I guess.
Yeah, no, as per usual with Klopp, he plays an incredibly high line. And he's squeezing the space out between our defence and midfield. So when we do get possession, we've always got 3 or 4 players trying to shake us off the ball and get behind us. It's making life very uncomfortable and very shaky. And everyone went into this game with a lot of optimism. But at the moment, Klopp's tactics are kind of doing us over at the moment.
Yeah, very much so. We just seen Gnome, a dangerous cross come into the near post, and Angelo Ogbonna had to be very, very alert to deal with that one. 2 Liverpool strikers, looking to get on the end of it.
He's having a bit of a stormer, Oggy, at the moment. But, his head's like a ball magnet at the moment. As Salah gets on the end of a cross from deep and heads wide, I'm okay with those. It's where they get into the byline and getting across in that worries me. This is more of a sort of give it a little bit more space, but most unlikely to score a header from there. Let's put it that way. We just had another moment there where we had some promising space on the left, and again it was just drilled far too far for Antonio to have a chance of getting on the end of. And handball to West Ham. This over free kick, and it's infuriating when you can see the pass. It just needs a, it just needs a sort of 10-15 yard ball into space, and it's drilled 40-50 yards where it's whether or not the keeper can be bothered to let it go out for a goal kick is the main question. And it is, it's easy from up here as well, but
I think it's pretty clear what David Moyes' tactics are. We're halfway through the half.
Right, by the way.
Go on.
Fornals now plays the ball inside. Oh, shoot somebody. Oh, it's cleared off the line. Ben Rama's in the box again, trying to work some space. Pulls the ball back to Rice. Rice has a shot and it's blocked on the edge of the box. First, a little bit of good pressure from West Ham. Some fine stuff between Fornals and Cresswell. Nice ball down the line. Soufal, can he keep it in? No, he's shepherded it out, and that's a bit of a wrestling match there with Robertson and goal kick. But it's great work from Rice. Played in Fornals. Fornals plays the ball inside Alexander-Arnold. Cresswell gets the cross in, bobbles about, and Fornals gets the shot in, and it's blocked on line. Just see what actually happened there, because it's bobbling around. It comes off Milner, and it's headed away from in front of Alisson by Robertson at the end there. So, that's first bit of, for all Liverpool's possession, and it's the first sort of chance at either end where you're sort of going like that, So
it's great work actually from Pablo Fornals there. I think Gnome, played the ball into Cresswell.
Here comes Antonio to the box. Now. He's got Alexander-Arnold on toast at the moment, holding the ball up. Now, terrible ball. Antonio got into a promising position, went to play people in, and just gave it away. That's terrible.
Sorry, no, I'm sorry.
The game stretch, but it's Liverpool are sort of going a bit backwards at the moment. But it's played out left where it should have been pretty much first time for Liverpool. Boom, get a foot in there, mate. Sorry, Gray. Anyway, back.
No, sorry, mate. Yeah, I wanted to come on to Michail Antonio quickly. Pinky, we incredibly unlucky, wasn't he, the other night? Hit the post twice. Could have had another one when he just glanced that shot wide of the post. Should really have had a hat-trick. You get the feeling with Michail that he's the sort of player that will play on his mind, and he'll be extra motivated in a sense this afternoon.
Yeah, just picking up on your first comment, is it unlucky, or is he just simply not that good a finisher?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the latter.
Okay.
I think, don't get me wrong, I think he's done really well for us, but the number of chances that he needs to convert to goals, as I said earlier, would be a lot higher than it would be for, say, Mo Salah. And that's the difference, but there's a big difference to the price tag as well. So
and of course the Antonio, as we often say, he's a converted striker.
That's my point.
Forward.
That's my point. And here we are.
Not for Liverpool here. Long plays the back towards Salah. There's an element of an arm in there, I think, somewhere, but bobbles around, and Shaqiri comes in, has a shot from just further out from the penalty spot. Great block
by Dawson. He got something on it just to stop it, and
made sure there was something on it. Corner out swinger. Souček clears to the edge of the box. It's headed back in. Still sort of bobbling around in the box there. Sort of half cleared again to the edge of the box. And now Liverpool are playing it back again, lobbed forward, but Rice is on the end of it. Lots of head tennis. Liverpool finally break down, and Rice again puts the block in, but again it's gone to a Liverpool player, and they're spreading it out wide now. It's all calmed down a bit from that few seconds.
But the point I was making there about Antonio, and it not really being about luck. You said there he's not really a striker.
Yeah.
So the point is we haven't got a striker on the pitch to convert those chances that we had against the likes of Palace, and that isn't about luck. It's about money, and therefore again, Mr. Chairman, if you want to see those chances getting converted, we've got to put down the 50 or 60 million quid that it's going to cost. And that's the difference between maybe a 6th place finish and a 4th place finish.
Very much so. Points at a premium, of course, especially at the moment for West Ham, pushing for 4th place again today with a win here. Rio, we just saw Gnome point out and Pinky point out that another fantastic interception from Craig Dawson. It's a couple of times he's done it today. As Gnome said a few moments ago, Angelo Ogbonna has been like a bit of a ball magnet as well so far. Our 2 centre-halves having to work really hard today so far. Doing a great job, though.
They've been making their money, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's just we're not winning the second ball. When we are clearing it, the second ball is just like something we're not picking up whatsoever. It's probably down to Klopp's ultra pressing, but it's something we've really got to stamp our authority on. We've got to grab hold of this ball, and where we're playing so deep, when we do get an outlet, we need to stick up top with Antonio, but it's just not happening at the moment. I don't know if we need a little bit of a tinker at half time. But at the moment, this system isn't quite working against this lot. It may be a depleted Liverpool side, but as Binky said, they earn their money and they're incredibly well drilled, and it's making life incredibly difficult for us.
Yeah, they certainly are. We are pretty much halfway or half an hour into the game here. It's still West Ham United 0, Liverpool 0. We're going to have a quick look now for the first time at the respective forums. Rio is keeping an eye for us on the KUMB.com forum match thread, West Ham forum, and Pinky, I don't know if he's already got one, but I've just sent him another one anyway. Rourke, the red and white cop.
Yeah, no, I'm on red and white cop. Yeah,
good stuff. Pretty much the most popular Liverpool forum out there. But starting with Rio, let's have a look at it from a West Ham perspective first of all. Rio, what's the view of the opening half hour from the KUMB.com forum match thread?
Yeah, everyone seems to think we're talking a lot of sense because they're backing up what we're saying. Okay. Which that's another worry, isn't it? If they think that we're talking sense. And as I say, my iPad's just restarted itself, so bear with me a moment.
Okay.
But it's a very busy match thread today. We had 20 pages and over 15,000 views. That was before kickoff. So and that's up to 27 pages, over 16,500. So incredibly busy. When my iPad boots up, I can actually bring you some comments.
All right, well, we'll come back. All right, we'll come back to you in a moment. We'll just go to Pinky in a minute, but Gnome, quickly, just a bit of action there on the pitch to look at.
We've had the first dive from Salah. Absolutely no question. There was absolutely no foul there. But we came away with the ball. Salah had thrown himself to make it look like he was poleaxed, and the ref bought it. And even Milner's getting in the act now. He's just thrown himself to the floor of the area, trying to go for a header, but Ogbonna's just a bit more too wily for that. It sort of launched long, and I don't think Ogbonna's got within 2 feet of him actually there. But
strange one. Nowhere near him, was he? Nowhere near him at all.
Yeah. So Milner's got up and done a little bit of the usual, and just. Well, I guess they've gone half an hour without that scoring. Must be getting a bit frustrating for them. But talking about Antonio there,
yes,
one of the things that I've spotted so far, and it's happened a couple of times, is that when we have got the ball down that sort of left-hand channel in particular, Alexander-Arnold can't cope with him. He's done him a couple of times out there, and maybe that's something to. Certainly have a chat. The manager might have a chat and say, "Look, you've got him if you get him. So get him on your own out there." So something maybe as a sort of tactical thing to work on. If you can get the message out there now or in the second half, but a couple of times Alexander-Arnold's looked well short.
Interesting. He strikes me as one of those players, one of those fullbacks, a bit like Gary Neville in some ways, going back a few years, who can be exceptional coming forward and putting in some magnificent crosses, but maybe a little bit suspect on occasions at the back. But anyway, we'll see how that develops. A good observation there from Gnome. We'll see. Mikhail, of course, is a bit of a battering ram at times, but as one of the West Bromwich Albion, was it Jake Livermore? Found that to his chagrin recently. But anyway, let's have a quick look. Let's go over to the Liverpool forum. Pinky's keeping an eye on red and white cop for us and see what's being said over there.
I'd love to help you, but they've kicked me out. So, yeah. Don't know what I've done wrong here.
Oh, okay. Well, we're
meanwhile,
not having much...
sorry, I'm just laughing at the challenge from Shaqiri on Milner. Sorry, on Bowen. Bowen's got the ball there. Shaqiri's just come running in and just thrown himself at his back. It's sort of like a flying tackle in rugby. So it was a free kick, and nobody's. Now then, Sufo's nodded on to Antonio, who gets a cross in, and it's blocked by Henderson. So I think it's our first corner, guys.
Yes, I believe it is.
Do you want to stay with me?
Yes, please. Yeah. Let's stick with that one, Gnome, and see if anything comes from it.
Yeah, I mean, not that we ever score from corners, of course. But,
I imagine Mr. Souček will be rubbing his hands here, waiting for this one to come over.
As the stat comes up to make a liar of me. But anyway, it's a corner on our right-hand side, and it's taken short by Bowen. Benrahma back to Bowen. Bowen gets it's an interesting looking cross, but the keeper's come out and smothered that. So a bit of a waste, really. You'd rather see that one slung in to start off with. But,
are you a fan of short corners, Gnome?
Not really. Very rarely do you see goals scored from them. I mean, I think corners are a little bit of a sort of myth anyway. I think goals that come from corners are rarer than you think, I think, statistically speaking. So, but certainly you've got a chance to get a cross in. You've got the likes of Souček there, Dawson, Ogbonna, all of whom can it just seems a bit of a waste not to at least try and bring them into play.
Yeah, obviously something they've worked on in training, or at least you'd imagine so. You wouldn't think they'd have just done that off the top of their head.
Work harder on it then, guys. Work harder.
Yes, a bit more effort.
Deep in our territory anyway at the moment. So
okay, well let's keep on it while we're waiting to see what develops on the pitch. Rio has the iPad going, buddy. Are we ready for a few comments?
We're buzzing now. Don't worry about it.
All right, let's go.
As I said, the anxiety is creeping in on the forum. Everyone's a little bit worried about how we're lining up and why the game's developing. Peaches have put, we're not defending well enough. We need to put more possession and get Antonio more involved. So far, he's having a mare. UFC 06. We look like, even when we get possession, we are more concerned what Liverpool are going to do. Bubbles 1966 has put, Benrahma's been Liverpool's best player today.
Mm-hmm.
Kent Hammer, we've been chasing shadows the whole game. Smuts, we're getting squeezed in the middle of the pitch. When we do get the ball, we can't keep hold of it. Alan Pardew's dead. A lot of long aerial balls from us, but not which have easily been swallowed up by the Liverpool defence. And it's just inviting more pressure on. It's not a lot of positivity flowing through there. A lot of anxiety creeping in. Earlier in the week, following the Palace game, everyone was absolutely buzzing. There was so much optimism. I thought we was playing a different side because it's so unnatural against the Liverpool team.
The Hammers really struggling so far in this first half to sort of get a foothold in this game and do something. But it looks like everyone on the KUMB.com forum is as nervous as we are. Pinky, how are we doing on those Liverpool forums, buddy? Any luck there? Have we managed to get in?
I'm having a mare here. I'm having an absolute mare. So
all right. Well, we'll come back to that in a minute anyway. But Gnome pointed out a few minutes ago, we've just seen Mo Salah's first dive of the afternoon. I think it was a pretty obvious dive, but we've not seen a lot of Salah really, Pinky, have we, so far? He's not really been involved to a great degree.
Only one header where he managed to easily get above Cresswell, get a bit of a running jump at it.
Yes.
But no, I mean, this is the classic game of a slightly weaker Liverpool team that are good enough to stifle us. I'm not sure they're quite good enough to create that much for themselves. And dare I say it, I think Klopp will be happy with a point this afternoon. And even though they've clearly had the balance of play, I don't think they're that bothered about they're not peppering our goal with too many chances. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that Salah effort, Pinky referring to coming in the 23rd minute, where a Wijnaldum cross into the near post was met by Salah, who nodded it just wide under pressure from Cresswell. Gnome.
Yeah, some good feet from Benrahma there. Little back heel, flicks it between the two Liverpool players, and One of them sticks a leg out and upends him. So free kick in a nicely dangerous position on our right-hand side. When the camera pulls back, I'll tell you exactly how far out it is. It's, well, 20, about 24, 25 yards towards our goal, but it's on the right-hand side. So a decent crossing here would be interesting.
Yeah, made for Cresswell. You'd think this one known from that position.
Well, it's Bowen's
an in-swinger
at the moment, and
okay.
So just hang on a second, see what happens. It's Bowen or Soufal are looking at it.
Yeah, it looks like an outswinger. Cresswell nowhere near the ball at the moment.
It's going to be Soufal, yeah. Good cross in. Oh, headed clear, shot in from Benrahma, again blocked. And Liverpool now bring away. And this is where we need to be a little bit, because they play it very, very long down into the corner, hoping Salah can get onto it. Little push from Salah, but Cresswell's equal to it and puts it out for the throw. It was a decent corner in. Liverpool did deal with it quite well, but again, shot from the edge of the box, getting blocked in there. Nice to see how that was travelling. But that was good work from Benrahma to get the free kick in the first place. It was a lovely little set of feet. And just a little cynical hack at him to stop him getting away from him.
Yeah, great stuff from the Algerian. What do you make of those free kicks, Gnome? Are you in favour of those sort of, the in-swinging corners towards the far post, or do you, in those circumstances, do you prefer to see it held up like that so that, the centre-halves can come in and meet it sort of on the penalty spot?
The way that we've been coming in, getting headers from deep, either. Basically, I'm not really that fussed as long as we get a goal from it. Liverpool going down their left now, and that's good work from Dawson. Not fussed at all by Origi, and that looks like a handball there, ref, surely. Yeah, he's given it. Free kick to West Ham, but Origi was there, sort of stood up, strutting, and Dawson just looked at him and took the ball off him. We're just seeing the free kick again, and that was a good header because I think Souček was on the end of that, and fine defensive header. As we've got Antonio's gone down the left again, but can't get a crossing goal kick. Getting on to the original thing about the type of crossing from that. You get those ones that are curling in at the far post. You get that sort of corridor of uncertainty, that sort of thing. As they always say, those are always difficult because keepers don't know whether to stick or twist. But given the way that we've been scoring goals from that sort of cross, as long as the guy who's crossing the ball in and the guys who are in the box know which one's coming, then either will do as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, very much so. We've certainly benefited from a few of those crosses in recent weeks and throughout the season so far. We are on the 41-minute mark. It's West Ham United 0, Liverpool 0. Liverpool have seen an awful lot of balls so far, but haven't had anything.
Sorry, Antonio was breaking through and he was hauled back, but he's now he's in the box. He's being crowded out. And again, a poor ball from Antonio. I think ref obviously played an advantage there, but it might have been better off for us if he'd stopped. But we're still on the attack. Bowens plays the ball through to Rice. Rice plays it out left to Benrahma, looking for the cross in. And Antonio, he's falling back to head the ball in, saved by Alisson. I'd like to see that again because you've definitely tugged back as he was breaking away there. As Rice breaks up another move. The last minute or two, we're just beginning to sort of hold on to the ball a little bit better. Apart from Antonio there, I said it. But ball down the left. No, we're on the attack. Souček's out on the left wing. And Benrahma now. We're pushing forward now. Again, it's just a little bit of pressure that we haven't had really any sustained. And Soufal's blocked off, but he's not going to get a free kick for that. And Liverpool now try and bring the ball away down their left.
40, just pushing up to the 43rd minute of the game, or the 44th minute, in fact, 43 played. West Ham 0, Liverpool 0. The Hammers, as Gnome rightly pointing out there, are just beginning to come back into the game. a little bit as the you know, the half's worn on, and especially as the halftime whistle approaches. Looking at the first half at Rio, who's really sort of stood out for you from a claret and blue perspective so far? Anyone really sort of making an impression for you?
It's mainly our defensive players because we've been not under the cosh continuously, but we've been under pressure in terms of territory, and the work rate of Liverpool has really kind of stagnated and strangled our attacking intent. So for me, I think Dawson's had a really good game so far.
Yeah.
As has Ogbonna, and I think Kufel again. I mean, I thought he had a really good game the other night, but he's impressed me, and he's been getting down the right hand side and trying to not only defend well, but also provide an attacking outlet. So I've been really happy with him again.
Good stuff. Pinky, we could be a good time to have our weekly discussion about Ben Rama. I think Gnome pointed out that he felt he'd been his Liverpool's best player so far earlier in the half, but you know, a couple of nice little moments, footwork, but not really getting into it, you know, as much as he did against Palace so far.
No, I think that's fair comment, and he's not really contributed in a positive way yet this afternoon. Just so you're aware, I'm now into the match day thread on Red and White Cop, and it isn't that lively. I think they seem to have a limited response in game, and then a lot at half time and so forth. But no, Ben Rama not really doing very much. But what options does the manager have? You know, and you know, sometimes I feel for the people watching from home on all this, but it's where you've got certainly 9, possibly 10 of the starting 11 selecting itself. Where, you know, I said last week it's Lanzini or Ben Rama as the only decision to be made.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like, does it almost matter how Ben Rama's playing, because what choice does David Moyes have? Stick on the 33-year-old Mark Noble, you know, and this is the problem with such a small squad. You know, so but one thing from Red and White Cop there is Ben Davies, is it, from Preston? They look like they're about to sign. I'm assuming he's a defender of some kind. They're just saying that, but
definitely need a few defenders, don't they? Couple of chances while we're talking there, Gnome, for Liverpool. Origi just going close at the near post, and then Salah. We said he'd only had one chance before then, and just testing Fabianski.
Yeah, Origi got in between Dawson and Ogbonna, and thankfully the run took him wide the post, and it just prodded it wide. I think Fabianski had the near post covered, and then Salah made some room for himself at the edge of the box, let a shot straight down Fabianski's throat, as Liverpool are now building up, and it's gone out for a corner, although Fornals is protesting that it didn't. But and that's the halftime whistle. I had absolutely no idea we were that close to the interval. I didn't see the board up. It may have been a no minutes, no extra added time, which is unusual, but it ought to be less unusual.
According to the TV, there was 1 minute.
Was there 1 minute? I didn't see the board go
up.
No,
like you, there didn't seem to be any shout. It
didn't register. It was the standard 1 minute, then saying, I can't think of anything we need to add on, but I'll add on a minute just to show I was paying attention somewhere along the line. So yeah, 0-0.
Yeah, half-time thoughts now. What do you reckon of that opening half?
I think I'm as pessimistic as everyone else now, because they've dominated possession. We haven't been battered, and I think there's only once really that I've stood there and thought, oh, and that was when I think Origi got through. I wasn't too worried about the Salah shot because it was straight down Fabianski's throat. So now, but the comment was earlier on, somebody said we're not defending well, and I'd say we're sort of defending half well. We're doing the initial blocking, we're keeping them at bay, but it's the sort of follow up, the second ball, that we're not keeping hold of, and we've begun. They're just little inklings that have begun to do that a little bit better. Liverpool have progressively started to rely on the longer balls over the top to try and get Salah in, pushing him out on Cresswell, and that's always a good sign, because it's a sign that they're kind of knocking at the door and not getting anywhere with their usual sort of build-up play. So Yeah, I mean, 0-0's a perfectly adequate right score at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just we just need to avoid this traditional coming out the second half 10 minutes after the opposition.
Yeah, been a bit of a problem for West Ham of late, isn't it? That one.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not been brilliant, and but it's kind of what I was expecting. We just need to hold on to it a little bit more. And I try and get Antonio in on Alexander-Arnold every time.
Yeah.
Because the bloke, the couple of times, I guess if you've got, I don't know how much Antonio weighs, but he's a big lad, and he's, sort of he's clearly done a lot of stuff in the gym, and you got this bus running towards you. Alexander-Arnold looked like a rabbit in headlights a couple of times there.
Yeah.
So,
we'll see how that one develops. Of course, Antonio, pretty lively, but not really involved to a great degree so far. The game is there for the taking. Pinky at half time. I mean, just a quick look at the stats. West Ham only 30% possession in that first half, 4 shots in the end to Liverpool 7. Both teams only managing 1 shot on target in the opening 45 minutes. Liverpool, the better of the corners with 4-1 and conceding 6 fouls to West Ham's 3. But yeah, Pinky, as I say, it's really all up for grabs in the second half. Not a lot in it so far.
Yeah, for both teams, both teams could say we can go on and win this. It's a question of who's actually going to be brave enough to go and try.
Yeah.
I said 10 minutes ago, somehow and strangely, I think Klopp would almost be happy with the point today because he knows he's got a weakened team and he knows we're on a rich run of form. So, in his world, a point will be better than no points, that's for sure. For us, I actually, in a strange way, think we need the win. If I was David Moyes, I'd be tempted to push us up a little further forward and really try and go for the win, almost risking defeat to get the win. Purely because if we look at that top part of the table, the top sort of half dozen clubs, wins keep you interesting and keep you interested. And I think there's a lot of talk on the forum this week about, is it about empty stadiums and things like that? And I've expressed the view on here several times now. I think it's more a case of a lot of the players are at 95% application, kind of thing. I think for us in recent weeks, as we've had a good run of winning games, we've actually got more hardworking because actually we can see we're making progress.
Yeah.
I just think it's important for us to maintain the momentum because the last half a dozen round of matches this season, we will see huge tail-offs in application for those teams in the middle part of the table. Yeah, and we're going to start seeing some very strange results because if players at what I call the also-ran clubs aren't running hard now, what they're going to be doing in April. So for my money, we want to stay as far up that table as we can for as long as we can. So when the strange results start happening, we don't need to become victim to them, or alternatively, we can exploit them. So I'd go all out to get the win here this afternoon. Not because it's Liverpool. I just think it's the smart thing to do in the season.
Yeah, of course, the Hammers with another difficult game coming up in a few days' time, travelling to Villa Park to face a Villa side who 1 minute are excellent and the next minute sort of look distinctly ordinary. But they obviously came off the back of a good win this weekend. There was one result earlier today for those who've missed it. Very strange result. A good one for West Ham, you'd have to say. Leicester going down 3-1 at home to Leeds United. Who must be an incredibly frustrating team to support, I would imagine, this season, pulling off fantastic results like that 1 week and then, looking distinctly ordinary, a bit like Villa the next. But anyway, it is West Ham we are concerned about at the moment. It is half-time at the London Olympic Stadium. It is 0-0, no goals so far. Liverpool controlling much of the game, but West Ham defending valiantly so far, Rio, and not really an awful lot between, as we said, only 1 shot on target for each team so far. Not a lot between the teams.
Yeah, it's been a very cagey game rather than the game that we was probably expecting. We was probably expecting to be a little bit more open, us to play a bit more on the front foot after the confidence-building result from Tuesday. But yeah, Liverpool have been pressing really hard, making us work, squeezing the space that we have. and we've found it very hard. The fact that our best players have been defenders says a lot for me. You know, we've really not got a foothold in this game, and we've really not tested what is a makeshift back four for Liverpool. And it's a little bit of a disappointment in terms of we're not creating the opportunities and testing them. We're being the ones that have been largely under the cosh. Not, as I say, not in terms of chances created, but in terms of possession and the way that we're almost shooting ourselves in the foot by losing the ball and losing possession far too easily. Liverpool are making us work hard for their money. It's not a pretty game at the moment. We just got to hope that in the second half that we kind of regroup, Moyes gets hold of them and kind of emphasises the fact that we're the home team. Okay, a draw would be good for us, but this is probably the weakest Liverpool side we're going to face in probably the last 5 or 6 years. We should be more on the front foot. We should be testing them. And it's just not happening at the moment.
Do you get the feeling, Rio, that this is one of those games where Moyes is going to try and keep it tight for 70 minutes and then sort of, bring forth the sort of attacking intent and go at them for the last 20 minutes? Or, do you see sort of West Ham just trying to keep it tight and maybe playing for that point?
You'd hope that he sees the 3 points are there for the taking, and we do go for it. It has got a feel of the game at Goodison a little bit, where we were happy to surrender possession. But as I said, against a makeshift Liverpool side, who've obviously got frailties at the back, we're giving them such an easy ride, and we should be putting them under a lot more pressure than we have. And midfield just can't get in the game, though. I mean, Liverpool squeezing us and making space at a premium. But when we do have possession, we've been incredibly wasteful. Antonio is far too stranded up front, and when he has got the opportunity to hold the ball up and bring others into play, he's made some absolutely appalling decisions. And we've been crying out for Antonio to get back and fit. But on this showing, he's doing no better than Seb Haller did up at Anfield.
Yes, of course, Seb Haller no longer with the Hammers, now playing in the Eredivisie for Ajax and doing pretty well by all accounts over there so far. But no, we were offering our predictions at the start of the game. Pinky went for 2-1, Rio 3-1. You went for 2-2. I went for a 2-1 defeat. So between us, we all felt there were going to be goals in this game. I think Rio's right now. It's looking more like that sort of Everton match where it will just be one goal that settles things.
Yeah, could be right there. We haven't had an awful lot going forward, but we have had the odd sort of glimpse where it's nearly had us out of our seat. Liverpool have shown very, very little up front. The one time that Origi got between Dawson and Ogbonna, perhaps. Shot from Salah, but excuse me, lots of ponderous approach play, but neither side have had that sort of cutting edge. So yeah, this could well be a tight 1-goal game, or even a 0-0. But one thing I've just been replaying, and it did disappoint me, that corner. It's you've got a makeshift central defensive partnership in there of Henderson and Phillips. You've got Dawson, Ogbonna, you've got Souček, you've got Antonio. All of whom can win the ball in the air. Even Rice gets the nod on, gets the flicks on.
Yep.
Now, you mentioned, was this something they worked on in training? Well, maybe, but that's something you bring in later on in the game. You mix it up. Your first corner, you stick to the plan that's worked well. And I just found that very, very disappointing that we got into that position. We had a chance to get across in with all those players I mentioned, all sort of looking hungry for it, and we do that.
There's a couple of interesting points on that, actually, Gnome, on YouTube, on the chat, on the live chat. Chris Mulhall pointing out that Liverpool are actually 19th in the league with regards to aerial battles won. I can't verify that, but I'm sure Chris wouldn't just make that up, which kind of makes that even more odd, that we wouldn't just sling it in there and see what happened. And Nick Forbot actually says that he feels that Phillips has been the man of the match so far and has won everything.
He has had a good game. That defensive header, where we got the free kick out on the right when I think Ben Rama had been brought down.
Yeah,
that was the one where he was the only one who went back, and Souček was just behind him. That was a superb header. And you know, as I say, it's he's been the pick of their defenders when we've gone forward. But so if that stat is correct, and they're second worst in the league at defending crosses,
yeah,
then cross. Don't mess about it. Yeah.
Put it in there.
Yeah, I mean, I jokingly said we never score from corners, and up flashed the stat about we were first in getting goals from set pieces.
11, isn't it? Something like that.
Case, if we're the best at getting goals from set pieces, and they're the worst at defending them,
no brainer. Sling it in there.
Doesn't seem that difficult a thing to me.
Yeah. Well, let's hope if we get any opportunities like that in the second half that maybe they change it up a bit. Pinky, we were talking before the game about Shaqiri, a player I said I liked what you said you felt that he was a bit of a highlights reel player, great for scoring the odd wonder goal and stuff like that. But over the 90 minutes, not really involved at all. You're bang on, aren't you, so far? Have we seen him apart from that foul on Jared Bowen midway through the half?
No. Cold day down south, doesn't fancy it. It's one thing I would say, though, just going back to a different player, Phillips has been called at LFC Reds. They're all picking him as their man of the match so far.
Yeah.
And their boo boy is Origi, no question. Shaqiri not getting a lot of praise either on their chat boards. Yeah, what we've got here are two teams cancelling each other out. The bizarre short corner for us. I don't know if there's a thought maybe that the Liverpool keeper can command his 6-yard box very well, and therefore, try and change the angle into the box. Maybe it's something of that nature. But I maintain here today, the big disappointment for me is Michail Antonio. He's not really done it. He's not been good enough quality in that half. I don't think he's worked nearly hard enough in the first half. And dare I say it, why would he need to? Because he knows he's not getting hooked.
Yeah, well, this is it now, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, when you look at the bench and you see the backup is a 17-year-old kid who's never kicked a ball in the Premier League before. Yeah, where is the urgency going to come from?
And I saw something in the week about Haller that's been shipped out. I think he's just changed agent, hasn't he?
Has he now?
Yeah, and dare I say it, the agency that Mr. Will Salthouse is associated with. Who'd have thunk it?
Can't say I've heard of this guy. Who would this be? Anyone we should be aware of? Of course, we all know Will Salthouse his clients nearly all at West Ham, owns half of the team or works with half of the team. We're seeing the players come out now for the second half. The half-time interval seems to have passed us by very, very quickly. Rio, before we do come out, just wanted to ask you quickly about Jared Bowen. Now, a lot of people have been quite critical of Jared in recent weeks, saying that he's not really been involved a great deal, and that perhaps Lingard should come in and take his place. Bit quiet again today, isn't he? But what's your view on that one?
Yeah, he has. He wasn't particularly a standout player the other night either. I mean, we all know what Jared brings in terms of his work rate and his energy, but we're just getting squeezed so much that he's got no outlet. And when he does have the ball, his decision making, as we've said time and time again, isn't the best, and it is shining through. I think the level of the opposition doesn't help. Out of all the players that potentially under threat from the Lingard arrival, I think Jared might be the one looking over his shoulder. I do see Lingard as mainly as an impact sub at the moment.
Yeah.
But in the long term, if he stays beyond the end of this season, You know, Jared's got to sharpen up a little bit and stamp his authority a little bit more in terms of finishing and decision making in the right areas, because that's where he lacks a little.
Obviously, some of the corners have been fan assists from those, but yeah, I mean, generally, I see perhaps just a little bit more from him in open play. No, we are underway again, and Liverpool looking dangerous within the opening minute of the half.
I think that Alexander-Arnold would have been declared offside by VAR. His head was well forward of the last defender there. So, but yeah, we're underway. No changes to either side at the interval.
Okay.
And that was, just say, the first knockings. It's the usual thing. We do need to sort of make sure we're out right now and not in 5 minutes' time. So similar pattern to the first half, where Liverpool are keeping possession. But it's it keeps ending up back on the halfway line, and Phillips is now bringing it forward, and again it goes back. Milner, Antonio tries to slide in. In fact, between Antonio and Rice, they get the ball back, but then a back heel from goes. I think it was Ben Rama, which could have broken up, could have put us through. Goes astray. And now Declan Rice has picked up a yellow card because the loose ball came forward, and he's just gone through. He's just gone through Henderson. It's the second leg. The reducer, yeah, indeed. I don't think anybody could complain about that yellow. He's just taking him out, and fair enough. Not much one can say there.
I've got to say there. Great decision by Declan Rice there. He knew exactly what he was doing. Yeah. Being no doubt, it was a deliberate foul. Henderson was bursting forward. And Rice took the
dare I say it was Liverpool-esque.
Yeah. Good decision.
And that'll be a free kick to West Ham. Yeah, that was Liverpool-esque, wasn't it, Pinky? Because that's kind of standard tactic number one. Nobody gets further than a certain point either side of the halfway line.
And that's kind of the point I'm making about it being a good decision by Rice. It shows quite a hard-nosed professionalism that in many seasons our players perhaps, oh no, we don't do that at West Ham United. Well, yes, we should. Have some of that.
Yeah. But it's still rubbish.
One for the team there, yeah.
48 hours.
Yeah. we are, as I say, we are back underway, 48 and a half minutes gone, West Ham United. Nil Liverpool, nil, looking for our first goal of the game. It struck me actually, Gnome, so far, how Liverpool have done a very, very good job of keeping Thomas Souček out of the game completely.
Yeah, comment on that in a second. And, it's a good block. And, that's the most dangerous they've looked. They got down our left-hand side as an attack broke down. And the ball was squared back. Salah was... Souček's just been booked actually for a late one off the ball. There's quite a lot happening there as they brought it away. Souček just caught rolled around 20 times. It wasn't that bad a challenge, but Souček's just been picked up a yellow. Origi went down the left, got to the byline, pulled it back. Salah really should have done better there, but Cresswell was on hand to stick a little bit of a block in. But that's poor from Salah, really, right in the 6-yard box. Yeah. Put your foot through it.
Should have scored.
Yeah.
Yeah, real opportunity for Liverpool there. But let's give credit where it's due. Aaron Cresswell, criticised often for those balls coming in low into the box, but making sure he's in the right place at the right time to deny Liverpool. No?
Yeah, another shot there. Salah's gone all sort of. Well, he's got the ball through. I think it's Origi at the right hand side. Dawson's just basically shepherded him wide, and he's hit the ball at the side netting. Good play from Dawson there. Very clever work there.
The key thing, the opportunity Salah didn't take. Fine sort of desperate block by Cresswell at the end, but it was Souček was caught miles upfield. He'd done the lunge, hacking down Thiago, for which he was later booked. But it's the fact that left him because he went to ground fully 40 yards out of position as Liverpool fall forward. And it just shows if you overcommit going forward against this Liverpool team, even their weakened state, they've got plenty to punish you. They can move the ball back to front very quickly indeed. I just think we need to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, Liverpool 2 or 3 chances in the opening 5 minutes of the second half. There, we've just seen Michail Antonio and Phillips both go to ground after a heavy aerial challenge. But interestingly, West Ham also both of those central midfielders in the book already in the second half. No, Rice and Souček both taking yellow cards.
Yeah, it was an interesting challenge there where I think he got stopped because I think the ref was just worried about potential head injury. But Phillips went down clutching his head. When you looked at that challenge again, he'd gone in with his elbow on. Just Antonio had seemingly got down the right hand side, but the keeper came out to clear it up. Phillips had gone in with his sort of forearm into Antonio's side, his ribs there. So quite why Phillips went down. I think it might have been just in case I get caught for a free kick here. In the end, the referee gave a drop ball back to Liverpool, but a little bit naughty that.
Yeah, we're just seeing the ball played down the right-hand side. Gnome referring to it briefly there. Good work there, Rio, from Alisson coming out to tidy up there under pressure from Antonio.
Yeah, he had to be on his game now. It's a bit worrying this second half. We've seen it so many times though, haven't we? Opening the second period, really slow, not the races, and it takes us 5 or 10 minutes to get into the game. As I say that, we're just breaking down our Cresswell's down left, swings across in. Too deep, unfortunately. Yeah, but we've got to cut out these second periods when we come out and we just look so disjointed and still back in the changing room. Against an opposition like this, we really cannot afford to do that. We've seen him squander 2 chances already. It's not looking good at the moment, this second half.
No, I mean, our big players, the players that really stepped up to the plate, Pinky, in recent games, in an attacking sense, players like Fornells and Ben Rama and Souček, I guess, to a lesser degree, not really getting into the game so far, not really having a major input.
No, but again, what this Liverpool team do is they stop you playing. They absolutely impose their game plan on whoever they're playing against. In general terms, and whether that's the high line that Klopp generally plays, just the work rate that they've got at the front part of the pitch. I don't think we should ignore the fact that Liverpool at full back have got 2 of the hottest properties in British football, who were all of last season getting rave review after rave review. You're not going to batter this Liverpool team. Let's not muck around here. If we get a win today, it will be hard fought, and I'm not surprised the likes of Fornells, isn't really getting that much of a look in, or Ben Rama or Antonio. They were never going to.
Yeah.
Another long ball from the back now. Salah got to get in between Ogbonna and Dawson. Couldn't do anything to direct the header, really, just went straight to Fabianski. But it's it's a long ball from the back. We've got to be a little bit careful now because them trying to sort of work it through hasn't been working, and they do often resort to something akin to Route 1 with and we've just seen it played long again from the back, although it's gone away through Fabianski. So just need to be a little bit careful that we don't get caught with somebody in between. I think they're lining up a change as well, but I didn't quite see who it was.
And a 7 on the back. I haven't got my numbers with me at the moment.
Might be Jones.
Yeah,
17.
Yeah, could well be. Just looking at the lineups there, then have they got any other players with it? I'm just looking at the subs there. No, Jones is the only 7, so it must be Jones who's about to come on. What do we know about him? No, what do we know about Jones?
Not an awful lot, I'll be honest. He's,
put you on the spot there.
Yeah, but hang on. They're saving. We West Ham on the attack. We've got 3. That's a terrible ball in, but Antonio's won it back. That was a chance. We need to take these, mate. It was a good break. That's that's a great block. I think it was Dawson was there, and it's played
Dawson.
up, and Bowen, Sufo comes down the right, puts the ball in. It's not a great ball, but it goes behind everybody, and Antonio sort of manages to pick it up, gets on the turn, and tries to curl it in. Foot inside. I'm sure Alisson's getting that, but that's a great tackle.
Great tackle with Dawson.
That's superb from Dawson. Top flight. I mean, Origi's hobbling around like he's been, and it may have hurt him, but it was a fantastic tackle. I don't know if you see this guy does the spoof commentaries, with the sort of robotic voice. But Dawson's been christened the Blue Passport Beckenbauer by him. So substitution now, and Milner's off, and he's having a big debate with Klopp about something. Klopp's having a right pop and gives him a cuddle at the end of it. So it's all very amicable. So Jones is on for Milner.
First change of the game coming from Liverpool. As Gnome says, a real heart-to-heart going on between Milner and Klopp. Klopp obviously making a tactical switch.
It's a goal.
Gnome?
Yeah. Salah managed to stay on his feet for a couple of seconds. I think Milner was upset at being substituted, but Jones was involved in the build-up. And Salah's given far too much space on our left-hand side. Shimmies kills it in the far post. Like to see it again, but Salah not inconvenienced by. I think everyone's too. Oh, now hang on, might be a little bit of handball in there. I think I'll look at it. But Jones sort of burst forward, played it to Alexander-Arnold, played it out wide. You've got to close him down. Cresswell didn't close him down there. So
the first goal of the game.
It's it was a good finish, but he was allowed to.
Yeah,
that's the point.
The times you've seen Mo Salah do that, sort of cut inside on his left foot and whip it into the far post, and as we say, Cresswell just a little bit off the ball there, and Dawson, Rio, only millimeters away from getting ahead to that. It looks, but anyway, it's in the back of the net, and it's 1-0 Liverpool. Disappointing, and here we are again, 12 minutes into the second half, and West Ham getting that poor start.
Yeah, it's wake up.
Yeah, sorry, Rio. What do you make of that?
Yeah, no, I think Jones, his first touch of the ball, he shrugs off. I think it might have been Declan, to be honest. He had a far too easy run once he shrugged off. Too much time, too much space. Fed Salah eventually. And Cresswell's got to do better. Dawson tried to jump and nod it away, but was nowhere near it. And it is so disappointing. Just as we come off their best chance of the game, with 4-0, played a lovely ball down for Bowen. And we were, I think, man over. I think it was 3 against 2 at one stage, but Mickey just got a bit mucked up, and the final shot, he's really got buried him. And now we find ourselves on the back foot in a game that we've been really chasing shadows for much of it. So we're really, really up against it now.
Yeah, disappointing from West Ham once again, as we said. It's so important to start that second half. We've seen it so many times. West Ham in trouble and concede goals, and there's another one, 57th minute at this time, and Mo Salah curling one of his. We've seen it so many times, as I said, but it is the difference between the two teams at the moment. West Ham having to come from behind now. Pinky, we got any chance of winning this one now?
It's looking difficult because not only do Liverpool have the lead, they're retaining the lion's share of possession. They look very comfortable on the ball all of a sudden. I think we need to make some changes. Ben Raba's had minimal impact on this game.
Yeah.
And really, I've got to say, Antonio has fluffed his lines this afternoon as well. The problem being, Antonio, who do we really have that we could swap him with? Odebiko, are you going to do that? I don't think so. I don't think Moyes will do that. He might bring on Lanzini for Ben Rama, but other than that, there's what options does he have? As I say that, Bowen had a chance to go through there, but he had the ball taken off him.
It's offside anyway, clearly.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and we are an hour through the game now.
Here comes Yarmo. So
Pinky sub coming.
Yeah, sub's coming. Yarmo's coming on. Let's see who he hooks. Probably Bowen, I would think, but
would seem traditional, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we're just
play's continuing, so it's not happening just yet.
Okay. David Moyes issued his instructions to Yarmolenko, who's coming on for the last 30 minutes. Of course, Moyes lacking in options, as Pinky rightly pointing out there. In terms of strikers, the only option available on the bench is the youngster Odobiko, who's yet to make his Premier League debut. West Ham, of course, having sold the club's only recognised striker in the transfer window to Ajax in the shape of Sebastian Haller. West Ham United 0, Liverpool 1. 61 minutes gone. Gnome, still gone a bit quiet here and on the pitch for West Ham.
Yeah,
it's
we had a spell, we had a bit of possession, but final ball. Now Liverpool are coming, tacking down their left, and it's run out for a goal kick. He's run it out. So, but again, Jones has made a difference because he takes players on. I'd still like to see the very start of the build-up to that goal because he certainly had a hand up in the air, and I had a feeling it came off about there. But being Liverpool, they won't look at that until Tuesday. So it's 4 nails is off for Yarmolenko. So not the traditional Bowie.
What do you make of that, Gnome?
It's been quiet, but then so's everybody really, apart from the back four and the 2 central midfielders who've had a lot to do. So. It's clearly, obviously, Yarmolenko doesn't bring much to the defensive side of things, and we win a free kick, just inside their half, about 10 yards inside their half. When Wijnaldum is moaning about it, but let's see what we do with this. Then it's a chance to get the ball up into the mixer, as the commentators like to refer to it. It's put out wide, so. Now, Bowen gets across, it's blocked. There's a corner at West Ham. Now, let's see what we do with this one.
You get the feeling this one's going to get slung into the box somehow, Gnome, I think.
I'd have thought so. You've got Ogbonna, you've got Dawson, you've got Souček, you've got Rice. 4 all lining up and towards the back of the box at the moment. And Rice has gone a bit further into the box. Yarmolenko was looking for a short one, but it is slung in. Go on. Oh, it's bounced across, and Souček in trying to get a foot on the ball has gone through, and it's connected with Henderson. Not particularly heavily, but let's have a look here. Yeah, it's caught him on the back of the head, but it's caught him with the sort of instep on the back of the head. So it's a brave header from Henderson.
I think the point there, though, Gnome, is that we look dangerous, much more dangerous from that corner than we certainly did in the one we had in the first half.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it was a bit worrying there because Yarmolenko had gone short and was saying, "Yeah, come on," and it was also, it had been spotted by a defender anyway, but it was for an awful second I thought they were going to listen to him. So.
West Ham United 0, Liverpool 1, 64 minutes gone. The Hammers behind to a 57th minute Mo Salah goal, the only goal so far of the match. West Ham really struggling to get into this one so far. And that record, Pinky, of 7 successive wins is really under pressure now. And I think, quite frankly, we'd probably take a point from this, wouldn't we, right now?
I wouldn't. I mean, logic would say, yeah, because 1 is better than none. But, in terms of what I think we need to do, we've got to try and find a way to win this. We really do. Your teams at that end of the table, by and large, win every week. And if you have 2 or 3 weeks where you don't win anything, suddenly you're back in that mid-table pack. And, I really feel we want to push on now this season rather than just settle for another good but ultimately sort of season. And, whatever we do, don't respect the point today. Go for the win.
65 minutes gone, 25 to go. West Ham and Liverpool both having made one substitution each so far. Jones coming on for Milner, seconds, literally seconds before Liverpool scored the opening goal of the game. And Yarmolenko.
Oh, Yarmolenko on the ball. He's edge of the box, doesn't get the cross in. Bowen gets the cross in. It flicks off Liverpool defender for another West Ham corner. The last couple of minutes, we've just been pushing them, and trying to work those angles to get the crosses in. And you know, it's just, we're getting. So we've got another corner now. We saw last one caused a bit of a little bit of panic. So let's see what we can do with this one. Bowen to take, and oh, that's come off a Liverpool. I'm sure that's a corner. Well, Dawson got on it, and it's flicked up off the Liverpool defender quite clearly and gone over. Let's have a look at the slow motion. Oh, it's off his own shoulder. So it did look like a Liverpool player, but so another little bit of a chance there. We've won the ball back from the goal kick, and Benrahma's looking forward. Nice ball in. Yarmolenko finds Antonio out on the left, teasing cross in, and it's again cleared away from a corner. We're just beginning to turn the screw a bit now. That's an interesting ball in from Antonio, who's out on the left wing there. Little teasing ball, and Liverpool defender on the slide there has played it out first time. One of those ones that you get that wrong, it's an own goal.
Yeah, you're looking at that, thinking that Rio, if Jared Bowen's a yard further forward there, then that's a goal, isn't it? That ball coming in.
Yeah, most definitely.
Corner comes in.
Sorry, Benrahma.
Liverpool, they're going to hit us on the break, unfortunately. Ball come across, and then now there's 4 against 3. Sahar in the box and scores.
On the break.
That, gentlemen, is the game over.
Sucker punched on the break.
West Ham United 0, Liverpool 2. It looks as if, gentlemen, that unbeaten record is about to go. Pinky and a second goal for Salah.
Dare I say it? I'd settle for a point now. I mean, they've absolutely mugged us there. I mean, Bowen put in what was not a great corner, cleared by a good attacking defensive header, and 2 passes later, Salah puts the ball in the net. You know, that's about as route one as you'll get in terms of first class football these days. And great cross into Salah, controls it with his first touch, buries it with his second, good finish. I think I might have mentioned the difference in the calibre of finishing earlier in the game.
Yeah.
Antonio had one chance, which he just curled it slightly wide. There you go. Salah, he's got a chance. He ain't missing. That's the difference.
Yeah, you can see it there. 2 chances for West Ham with a corner, 2 touches of the ball before it reaches Salah, and then it's in the back of the net. Disappointing, Gnome, really, but this is the quality that West Ham need to aspire to if we're going to be challenging at the top of the table.
It was kind of, I think it was going to happen. The disappointing there was the quality of their corner, I don't know. Sorry, I'm just baffled by a referee decision. Liverpool made another change, by the way. Shaqiri came off straight after the goal. That ball to Salah was his last touch of the game, and Firmino's come on. And yeah, that was basically his last touch. They're just showing the substitution again. Disappointed because the quality of the corner was terrible, and it's put us on the back foot completely. And we were just going through a spell there where we were forcing them into corners, and it is disappointing because this is not a good Liverpool side. And I think the phrase was earlier on, too much respect, and I think that was it. That's a great challenge there by I think Bonner to bring it all away.
Well, we're into the final 20 minutes now. West Ham United 0, Liverpool 2. It's going to take something of a miracle if West Ham are going to extend their run of consecutive victories in 2021. Today, it certainly looks like it's all over. But it's a strange feeling, this, Rio. It's a long time since we've been losing a game of football. We've kind of forgotten what it's like to be hugely disappointed.
Oh, trust me, we've had enough experience to remember all this. It's gutting, isn't it? Because we've been such a great run of form, but today, of all days, against a team that is a little bit weaker than they should be, we've just not been at the races. We've given, as Gnome said, far too much respect, far too much time. Yes, Liverpool work hard. Yes, Liverpool are tactically superb, well drilled, and they're champions for a reason. But we have sat back and let them kind of, not in a physical way, we've let them bully us tactically, and we're just not coped with it whatsoever. We've been squeezed. Our attacking players have not been at the races at all. And when we have had opportunities, such as the corners and the Antonio chance, our execution's been abysmal. I think we've created one clear, real chance. And that's not befitting a side that on Tuesday night could have scored 7 or 8 goals. I know it's against Palace, but we should be building on that. And today we've come up against an opposition who, calibre-wise, are far better than Palace, but we just give them every opportunity to punish us, and we've been bullied.
Yeah,
bullied
I suppose
tactically.
in a game like this, you need all your best players to be on, their game, don't you? And unfortunately for West Ham, you look across the team, and no one's really played particularly well in an attacking sense, anyway. And it's all fine margins, isn't it? 56th minute, the Kufal cross to Antonio, he swivels, curls one into the far post. If it's another foot to the left, it's a goal. West Ham lead. As it is, West Ham lose possession almost immediately straight away. And Liverpool go up the other end and score. And that, gentlemen, is the difference between winning and losing at this level of football. Pinky, game gone for you now. 72 minutes gone, 2-0 down.
Yeah. And, it was the manner of the way we conceded the second goal, in the sense of it was almost a planned move for Liverpool. They've got their out balls worked out, when from the corner. We'd committed too far forward. We didn't appear to have the right personnel in the right areas, so that when the ball was fired upfield, it was just, it was a turkey shoot for Liverpool.
Yeah.
So I'd want to see it again, but it looked to me that we'd just not quite got ourselves properly organised at that corner. And to be fair, I'm calling for go for it. Chuck everything forward. Of course, as soon as we do, they exploit it. But now 2-0 down against Liverpool, we're not getting 3 goals this afternoon, that's for sure. And disappointment for me today from Antonio. I don't think he's been great today. Ben Rama hasn't been great today. Overall, it's kind of like we've just not been at it. And you can't argue with what looks like is going to be a fairly comfortable Liverpool win in the end.
Do you think it, given the fact that the game's pretty much almost certainly gone, would you maybe give the youngster his first taste of Premier League football up front?
Yeah. I mean, if for no other reason, then why risk Antonio getting an injury?
Yeah.
But also, if you're going to put the lad on the bench, you must be good enough to say, well, if we get an issue with Antonio, we'll be sticking him on. So give him a run out. What's it going to cost us at 2-0 down?
Yeah.
Give him a game. I'd also be tempted maybe to put Ben Johnson on, again, get a few more minutes under the belt for him, just to say, do you know what? In a game that we're getting nothing from now, all we can do is improve the squad, and the way you do that is play the youngsters. They
Sure.
just give them some pitch time.
Okay.
At the minute, we're defending a corner.
Yes, Gnome, do you want to take us through this corner?
Yeah, corner to Liverpool on their left, in swinger, and Fabianski's got that well taken, kept his eye on it, and throws it out to Antonio, who loses the ball immediately. Pressure back on, and ball pulled back the edge of the box. Salah and shows his slightly truer colours and mishits it completely and goes over and wide. But wanted a bit more from Antonio there when the ball's thrown out to him. It's he's tried to flick it over and failed dismally. So
yeah. Gone rather quiet now, isn't it, chaps?
Yeah,
15 minutes to go.
I was just thinking about Salah's first goal, and it's Cresswell sort of took half a step to try and get near him, and then took a step back. And you do wonder if players are frightened to put in a challenge on Salah, because the second you go near him, he's on the floor, isn't he? So that might have had a little bit. As Liverpool now coming forward, Firmino pulls it back to the edge of the box again, and getting a long ball out wide. Alexander-Arnold tries to pull it back, but Benrahma gets the block in. It's safely in the hands of Fabianski. And let's go again. Let's get a goal, lads. Anyway, because
see if we can get one.
I don't think we've done ourselves justice today. And for whatever reason, we're better than this. And let's get a goal for our sins anyway.
Yeah, that would be nice. Something to cheer about anyway before the final whistle. Rio, I can imagine the response to those 2 goals on the KUMB.com forum match thread haven't been that complimentary. What's the pick of the comments so far?
Yeah, no, everyone's incredibly full of doom and gloom. A lot of players getting criticism, and the manager's coming in for a lot of stick at the moment.
Okay.
Some of the comments coming through. I hate Roder's put all on Moyes. You could tell he was scared on the pre-match interview. Craig 2609 has put Rice and Souček been completely dominated, sadly. How deep they've sat all game. The second goal was world class from them, but we've been overawed all game. It's a tough learning curve for a lot of the boys and the manager today. Smuts, garbage corner, and 10 seconds later we're 2-0 down. It's pathetic, to be honest. Kit the car. Moyes set up a tactic that players haven't applied. Benrahma's been sipping 100-mile balls into space that no one can get onto. Antonio isn't running when he expected to. Mr. Subike, no one likes losing, but it's acceptable when you try. Turn out playing like a bunch of cowardly custards is always going to get you pelters. And that's about the yardstick we've got from the comments. It's not a happy camp on KUMB tonight.
We're just seeing the Liverpool player hit the deck there. I think it's Origi, isn't it? The ball's played out for.
Yeah. He went to the floor. We've got 2 subs coming on now, and it's Noble and Lanzini by the looks of it. I think it's Frederick. Sorry, I couldn't see behind David Moyes, so I just presumed it was a short one. So yeah, Noble and Frederick's coming on. Let's see. Antonio is one of the ones coming off. Yeah, saving his hamstrings for midweek, because we've got a game again on Wednesday, isn't it?
Yes, against Villa. What's the idea behind this? I mean, I'm looking at that now and I'm thinking, we're not going to learn anything about Mark Noble at 33 years of age for 12 minutes against Liverpool here. What do you make of that sub?
I think that's saying that, as far as we're concerned, the game's gone. There's no Bowen's the one coming off for Fredericks, by the way. That's saying the game's gone. Let's just shore it up, not do any more damage to the goal difference. It's cold, it's wet. We don't want Antonio's hamstrings going before Wednesday. Let's not risk him in chasing something we're not going to get.
Well, what do we reckon? Yarmolenko going to take up the front position here?
Probably, yeah. I'd have thought so. Just wait and see. Liverpool are now making another move.
Maybe it says it just smacks of the 2 penalties that we're owed from all season. We're paying for now. Noble's come on. He's going to bury both of them.
Yeah,
everyone's going to be happy.
Yeah. Chamberlain is on for Origi, who was down, having sort of tripped himself up a couple of minutes ago in the box. So, I think that's all the subs now, isn't it? So, no more of them to come.
Yeah, brought on Jones and Firmino and Oxlade-Chamberlain, and West Ham, of course, Yarmolenko, Noble and Frederick. So, that's the full quota, I guess. So there's your 3 minutes anyway, I've added on time minimum. Yeah,
so we're just coming up to 10 minutes of the 90 to play now. So, West Ham in possession, nothing much happening. And I think it is it's going to be played out because Liverpool are just going to sit there, aren't they, and try and pick us off on the break as they did with the second goal.
Pinky, those substitutions, it was strange to you, Noble coming on. You know, we were saying a few moments ago about the potential of giving Odobiko his first Premier League minutes, but Mark Noble is the choice instead.
Maybe a manager's just making a point to a chairman there. It's we're 2-0 down, and this is what I've got to change the game. And it's not a reflection on Noble or Fredericks, but I think it's well known that we were trying to tout Fredericks around not so very long ago. So the manager's already made his call on him.
Mm-hmm.
No, bless him. He's 33. He's not going to change a game like this. Therefore, why else would Moyes make those changes? He's just saying, no, I'm not going to give the youngsters a game because there's no point, because I don't think they're good enough either. It's just, we say it every week, the squad is too thin for this league. It's that simple. We're punching miles above our weight, bearing in mind the size and depth of the squad. But today we just haven't had enough.
Good move. But the cross from the right-hand side. Noble did very well to win a ball back there as Liverpool were threatening on the break. We went down the right-hand side. We got the cross was kind of half blocked and went through to Alisson. So, but it was a good little bit of good football there. But as I say, I think we're going to be it's going to be running the clock a little bit now. I think both sides could do with a cuppa.
Pinky,
the 3 subs he's brought on are not going to start against Aston Villa. It's that simple.
Yeah. Well, we all think the game's gone. Looks like David Moyes agrees with us, given the changes made there. It's West Ham United 0, Liverpool 2, a little more than 7 minutes of normal time to go. And Rio, it's sort of it's a bit like scratching nails on a blackboard. Watching this last few minutes, isn't it? It's all a little bit unedifying, really.
Yeah. Now we've got Liverpool just playing keeper in the centre of the pitch. It's not the most pleasing of a Sunday afternoon. We've had such a great run, such a great month, and to it all to come crashing down in this manner. That's the most disappointing thing. It's the manner of the defeat. We've really not been at the races today when we should have been full on for this. We should have been chasing them down, harrying, pressing them. Instead, Liverpool have done an absolute job on us, and we've made it look second best. And to be honest, with the person on the pitch, we shouldn't really be.
Yeah, I get the feeling this is one of those games that Moyes looked at before and probably rightly felt that West Ham were, inferior in terms of quality. And it's one of those that Gnome mentioned Everton. And I think that's a really good point, where we kind of sat back and soaked up what Everton had for 60, 65 minutes before making changes and ultimately going on to win the game. And sometimes it just doesn't work out. And there's another goal known for Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, 2-0 to take 3-0 really sort of doesn't just flatter Liverpool, it takes them out and buys them a meal. It's a good little work, but they're not 3 goals better than us. It's just that we haven't done ourselves justice at all there, and we've allowed them to walk through. It's one-touch football, but it's one-touch football after we've got home, Alexander Arnold, who's had a rubbish time all day, suddenly gets involved, and there's a little back heel and pull back, and it's a nice goal, but we're just sitting there watching it happen,
Yeah, it's really disappointing, actually. I mean, you don't mind losing to a good side, but I just wonder, Rio, if David Moyes is going to start getting pelters from the forum for making defensive changes at 2-0 down. I know people weren't very happy at the start, but it's a fickle world of being a West Ham fan.
Most definitely. He was getting a little bit of stick anyway. I don't think these changes are going to help. As Pinky said, he might be sending out a message to the board. But I just think all 3 subs today have been pretty strange in terms of the way he's approached them.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't have given done any harm to giving the young kid a run out, 15 minutes up top. Just give him a little bit of experience against the makeshift back 4. what harm could it done? The game's gone anyway. Now we just made a couple of really nonsensical changes. It just seems for the sake of it rather than anything. And we suffered again. So, yeah, the forum isn't going to be a happy place to view tonight.
Yeah, almost certainly. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm not a critic of David Moyes, and you know, you try and look at the bigger picture. I think when you're talking about these decisions, but to me, it was just made for, you know, giving the youngster, giving Odibiku an opportunity to just have see what it's like playing against a top class team full of you know, world class players and internationals, and you know, that opportunity's gone. And I just wonder why, you know, and Mark Noble's on there, and you think, you know, what benefit can it bring Mark to put him on there in a situation like that? You know, he's only going to end up being criticised. More people will criticise the manager. And anyway, you know, but we've scored.
Goal machine. The goal machine. Craig Dawson buries it.
The blue passport Beckenbauer.
Well, we might.
Right, that guy who does the really funny commentaries.
Pinky, have we left it too late here?
Yeah, just by about half an hour. You know, I mean, I just want to point out a comment that was made on LFC Reds, that just to kind of, like, some people have certain views on their support. There you go, one of their own supporters.
Yes, it is a West Ham player.
Suggesting he'd be happy to see Origi break his leg.
Oh.
There you go. So that's a Liverpool supporter posting on a Liverpool fans forum that he wants to put the Liverpool player. You can't buy class, can you? I mean, heavens above. Yeah.
Charming. And I've got, just going back to the goal momentarily there, Pinky, but it kind of made me laugh, the irony of it all. We've been sort of urging West Ham to put corners into the box because of the aerial threat of the likes of Dawson and Souček and Ogbonna and Antonio before he was replaced. And of course, the ball's put in at knee high and Dawson's bundled it in. But you've got to take it when it comes, I guess.
Very, very, very much so. And, you know, let's knock it. Let's not knock it. Hauling back that goal difference could, you know, matter come the end of the season.
Yeah.
You'd hate to miss out on a couple of million quid for the sake of a goal, wouldn't you? And for all these sort of, you know, we're not bothered about Champions League stuff comments, every place up the league table is worth a couple of £1 million. And in a COVID season, when the club haven't been able to get any supporters into the ground, you know, we're the sort of club that probably budgets to finish round about 17th.
Yeah.
If you can finish in 5th or 6th, that's your season ticket money you've just won back. You know, I mean, I'd expect to see David Sullivan stood in his seat hurling encouragement at the players all afternoon.
You know, I don't think we've seen little Dave yet, have we, on the stream? I don't think we've had the cameras panned to him.
They haven't focused on him.
No.
Yeah, so at least one small mercy to be grateful for today then.
Yeah, literally. 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes left to go. It's West Ham United 1, Liverpool 3. It looks like it's too late for West Ham to get it back, but at least we've had something to cheer about today. A third goal in West Ham colours from Craig Dawson, Rio. The guy's prolific right now, isn't he?
Is that 3 and 9? That's a remarkable ratio for a West Ham player, let alone a West Ham defender.
It might be less than that.
We've got a striker in the studio at Sky Sports who is widely lauded. I think it was 1 in 4. So Craig Dawson, I think he could be our new striker.
There you go. I just wonder if David Sullivan is looking at that and saying, I told you we didn't need to spend any more money. Look, we've got the answer in our own ranks. There he is.
Yeah.
Craig Dawson.
The reason the Sky came round to Sullivan is that he's probably in the back in the director's box behind the window with his abacus thinking, how much can I save by playing Craig up top? It's the only reason. It's the only reason he's not been shown.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. I mean, you know, won every cloud and all that. You know, Dawson getting another goal. He's been fantastic for West Ham since making that move from Watford on loan for the season. We are into added on time now. Gnome, I've not seen any indication of how many more minutes we've.
Not yet. No.
What are we going?
Salah's out on the right now, and he's dealt with by Ben Rama of all people. Makes him look a mug. and then gives the ball away. It's the final ball. The number of times the guy's holding up. There's 3 minutes of added.
Okay, that must be a given.
So Ben Rama, that's where he's infuriating. He's won the ball. He's mugged Salah and gone forward, and then tried to play the ball off, and it's a terrible ball. It's like, it gives the player no chance. And we've not done ourselves justice here today. We've had a really, really off day, and I still don't think 3-1. I think 3-1 flatters Liverpool a bit. They've taken the 3 goals well, but it's Fabianski hasn't been bombarded, has he? 3 real chances they put away. Second half, yeah.
Well, Liverpool have actually only had 5 shots on target, and they've scored from 3 of them. So, no, I guess that kind of backs up what you're saying there, Gnome. But the game is pretty much over now anyway. It's going to end in West Ham's first defeat since, gosh, when was the last
Chelsea?
defeat? Was it Chelsea? That's
Chelsea.
another 3-goal defeat.
Another one where it wasn't really a free. And
yeah, no, exactly. And of course, going back even further, I suppose you could say the same about Manchester United when we were beaten 3-1 at home, when we absolutely pummeled them for about 45, 50 minutes, and it sort of all went wrong. But yes, here we are, staring defeat in the face. It's a cold, horrible feeling, one we haven't experienced for a while. But I guess let's not dwell too much on the disappointing side. I mean, Pinky, what a fantastic run it's been for West Ham to push up to 4th in the Premier League, with those 6 successive wins to kick off 2021.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather be at the end of the table we're currently at when losing 3-1 to Liverpool at home than the end of the table we're normally at when losing 3-1 to Liverpool at home. So, we've had, a fairly decent opening sort of 20-odd games. Let's hope we don't capitulate from here. But again, this is exactly what happens when players can see, we've seen Robert Snodgrass depart in this window. We've seen Sebastian Haller depart in this window. We've seen rumours of one of our centre-backs going out to another club. So we've got a centre-back in on loan, but then we're possibly going to loan a centre-back somewhere else. And it's like, they're seeing everything apart from reinforcements. And at what point does that just put a little bit of weight in the legs of the players and say, we can't do it all with this size of a squad? And I just think we've kind of missed a trick there, whereby Redknapp was always the master at saying he wanted to bring in 1 or 2 just to freshen things up. I think we all know what Redknapp's real freshening up was doing. But within that, there was a serious.
That's the whistle.
You can't go through a Premier League season with a squad as thin as ours and perform week in, week out. You just can't do it.
No, very much so. I mean, as the final whistle has gone, no more than 1 second after the minimum 3 minutes of added on time. It has ended here at the London Olympic Stadium. West Ham United 1, Liverpool 3. West Ham falling to their first defeat of 2021 with a very disappointing performance given what's gone before it. The opening goal, no goals in the first half, goalless at the break, but Liverpool taking the lead in the 57th minute from Mo Salah, cutting inside and curling his effort inside the far post. Just seconds after Michail Antonio gone incredibly close to opening the scoring for West Ham, small margins and all that. Liverpool doubling their lead on 68 minutes when Salah doubling his account for the day. Fabianski, no chance as Liverpool broke from a West Ham corner, 3 touches and the ball was in the back of West Ham's net, going pretty much over then. If it wasn't then, it certainly was in the 84th minute when a 1-2 from Firmino ended up with the ball at between Firmino and Alexander-Arnold, ended up with the ball at Wijnaldum's feet, and he scored from close range to put a gloss on the score that Liverpool, for all of their dominance, probably didn't really deserve to have. And West Ham getting a consolation 3 minutes later in the 87th minute, with Craig Dawson scoring his 3rd goal for the club since coming into the side a few weeks ago. To make the final score. West Ham United 1, Liverpool 3. As we were just saying there, it is West Ham's first defeat for a few weeks, Gnome. And how are you feeling right now? Really disappointed, or is it just a question of the run had to end sometime?
Disappointed because we're better than that, and we haven't done ourselves justice. And I mean, you know, obviously I'll be hanging on for the Mr. Moyes thing, and I think that'll be reflected in what he says. You know, the disappointing thing is that we could be down as far as sixth in a few hours' time, which is very disappointing given how hard we worked to get to where we are. I don't think Liverpool were that good. You know, they took 3 chances very, very well. One of which was kind of route one on the break. But the annoying thing to me is now, I mean, thankfully I've got the volume turned off, so I won't have to listen to it. But you know full well Sky are going to be going all over what a great performance from Liverpool. And I didn't think it was. It was, we just played into their hands. It was, and it was disappointing for that thing. I mean, earlier on, I turned on the Sky thing before the earlier game, and it was a case of, everything was about how wonderful Liverpool are. We've got half an hour with Klopp, and I thought, oh, that'd be interesting. Then if they're going to talk to Klopp, that'd be interesting. What they've got to say about us.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like watching a news item when you've got a local election coming up. And it was, you know, they had a couple of people they'll interview the main candidate or two for Mayor of London, for example. And then at the end of the slot, they'll put a whole list of names in very small print up the left-hand side, which these people are also running in the election. And that's what it felt like with this coverage. It was, you know.
But isn't that always the way with the broadcasters?
Yeah, with Liverpool. I mean, yeah, they can do no wrong in terms of BBC and slightly lesser extent with Sky. But it is kind of depressing because we should come off there and we should think, you know what? We had a chance to do something there and we actually didn't. And, you know, so yeah, very, very disappointing. I mean, the good news is, I suppose we've got Villa, Fulham, and Sheffield United, I think, are our next 3 league games.
Yeah.
So that sort of mental, perhaps inferiority complex that clearly we carried into today, hopefully won't be around, and have a chance to sort of, you know, carry on the good work that's been done up to now. It's just such a shame, all the hard work, everything that's gone in there, and we've just kind of thrown it away because it's always Liverpool, and we believe the hype.
Yeah, I kind of, it's a fair summary. I kind of disagree with you a little bit about Liverpool's performance, because I think West Ham were the form team in the Premier League going into that game, and they've effectively nullified us completely today. I'm not sure you're giving them enough credit for doing that. You know, they didn't create an awful lot, but we are a good side and we have been playing very well, so that's perhaps understandable. But you know, we were so limited today, weren't we? I mean, 8 shots altogether, only 2 shots on target, and I don't think either of those really troubled the goalkeeper, did they at all?
I think we went into that mindset.
Apart from the goal, obviously. Sorry.
Yeah. But I think, so I'm not giving them credit, but we played into their hands. We should have gone in with the, so when we played Palace, we went and tore them apart.
Yeah.
And nobody's saying we're going to tear Liverpool apart as such, but we go in and attack. We sensibly attack, but we didn't. We were I wouldn't say parking the bus, but it was if we can actually get the ball and then go on the break, then we might attack. And it was limited intent.
Yeah.
Fair
point. Yeah, that's a fair point.
That doesn't come from Liverpool stopping us. We started off, and that's why I think it's difficult to give them an awful lot of credit, because it's
okay. Yeah. Okay, no, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. Well, I think that's a really good point, and I think that's an issue we can discuss a little bit further on. Let's get everybody's immediate summaries first of all. I do think it's a very good point, though, and so we'll come back to that. Rio, West Ham United 1, Liverpool 3. The run's over. Disappointing overall.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly disappointing because of the way we applied ourselves, which everything we've done right this season, we didn't do today. We allowed Liverpool to bully us, really, and tactically outplay us. they allowed no space in between our defence and midfield. We was playing far too deep. Of all the times to produce, which I think is our worst performance since the opening day, on the back of a run where we won 6 on the bounce and we should be flying, no one turned up today. Our striker, who we've been putting so much faith in to rescue our season, and since his return, he's done a decent job. But today, his all-round play just wasn't good enough. One chance and he fluffed that, but his link-up play was pretty shocking. The attacking midfielders, I thought our best one out of the 3 was possibly Fornells, who created 2 of our brightest chances.
Yeah.
But he got hauled off, which I couldn't really understand. Ben Rama was incredibly wasteful and really didn't offer nothing. Bowen was one of his bad days at the office because for all his energy and his work rate, his decision making and his application, his passing just wasn't there.
Yeah.
I think the only 2 players that come out of any real credit today are probably Dawson and Ogbonna. Even Kofel, I thought, had a really good first half. He wasn't afforded any kind of chance in the second.
No, that's a good point.
Milner had been pulling the strings in the first half, and really, I can understand his frustration of being hauled off. But it was a masterstroke by Klopp, wasn't it? Because as soon as Jones comes on, he kind of shrugs Dixon off the ball far too easily, sets up the chance, and his energy in the midfield really caused us even more problems.
I think that's a really good observation, actually, Rio. You've pointed out there, Soufal, instrumental in the opening half, looked really strong as he has been for weeks, but completely out of the game second half. Wasn't involved at all.
Yeah, absolutely anonymous in the second half.
And you think that was to do more with the substitution?
I think Jones coming on, he changed the game completely because his energy immediately created a goal for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Then we were chasing the game a little, and but Kofel just never got into the game in the second half. He never offered an attacking outlet down their right hand side.
Yeah. So
we lost another option there, and yeah, as I said, it's the worst performance since the opening day, and yeah, it was sad to see, particularly on the run we've been. It's just sad to see that we kind of surrendered this without much of a fight. Too many of our big name players did not turn up today, didn't put in the performances that we've seen. Yeah. It's a threadbare squad, as we know. It's going to catch up with us eventually. I'm just hoping that this isn't the first sign of the cracks setting in.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I know we're supposed to be fierce rivals of the likes of Millwall and Tottenham and Chelsea, but for some reason, I absolutely abhor losing to Liverpool Football Club. I don't know what it is, but just something about them grinds my gears more than anybody, and I really dislike losing to them.
The classy supporters who wish that their own players had broken legs, for example.
Well, yeah, that's something to do with it. Pinky Rio says it's the worst performance since the opening day against Newcastle. Do you go along with that?
Yeah, I think so. If we're being honest, we never looked like winning today. Not for a single moment did we look like we were going to win that game today. Probably the game where most of our players contributed almost nothing, certainly nothing positively. So you might get away with 1 or 2 players not really being at it, but when you've got 6 or 7 who just on the day haven't done anything, you're not going to get away with it, and certainly not against Liverpool.
Yeah.
It was the second goal that in particular I was disappointed with. The shocking corner that we put in, they cleared it far too easily. 2 passes later, they score.
Mm-hmm.
There's something wrong with our basic defensive organisation as a team, if that's what's going on. So I'd like to see that again and just see exactly who wasn't where they should have been. I can't help but feel part of it is the players are looking around the dressing room going, well, it's just us, is it? Well, fix bayonets, please, lads, because, it's us against the world. I can't help but feel that's got a bit of an impact on the players who are going. So between now and the end of the season, this is it.
Yeah.
This is all we've got, and whether that causes players to just take the foot off the gas a bit because they're demotivated, or they take the foot off the gas a bit because they know that they're not getting dropped. I mean, Antonio's work rate in the first half wasn't enough, and if we were a club that had other options, Antonio would have been hooked at half time, but the manager simply doesn't have that option, so he stays on. Yeah, and it tells a player that a subpar performance is okay because you're not going to get dropped or hooked or whatever it may be. And I'm not saying that Antonio was mucking around or not trying.
Yeah,
he just wasn't at it today in the way that we've seen him be at it in other games. And this is the problem that our chairman does not seem to understand, that at this level of elite sport, you've got to be focused every single game for every single minute to beat the opposition, especially if it's someone like Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine margins, and you don't reinforce in the window. In fact, you actually reduce your squad. This is what you get. And yeah, we're lucky. Villa, Fulham, and Sheffield United up next. So hopefully the rock won't set in too deep. But Jurgen Klopp could start today with Roberto Firmino on the bench. That's a weakened Liverpool team, and Firmino starts on the bench today. There you go. So that's weakened Liverpool, and full strength West Ham. We had Odobiko on the bench.
Yeah. Do you kind of feel that? We sort of spoke before the game, and we were all quite excited because Liverpool missing all these defenders, and we're playing Henderson, for example, at centre half. We never really tested them today, did we, at all? And even in the opportunities that we had, we didn't really put them under pressure.
No, and again, perhaps Jurgen Klopp's game plan was better than David Moyes' today. If we're being honest, Klopp obviously had the advantage of knowing exactly who his starting 11 were going to be, several days ago, whereas Moyes has to wait for an hour before kickoff. But we've seen their one real danger man up top that they started with today, Salah, bag a couple of goals. We've seen Shaqiri, who I said, well, he's a showreel player. Yeah, okay. One pass today. There you go. I'm going to put this 45-yard pass right onto Salah's left peg. He'll control it, or right peg. He'll control it with that, then finish it with his left. So Shaqiri earned his pay today with one single pass. Moment of class. But that's all he did. But it was enough. Who in our team actually did that moment of class today? Where was our sort of like what they're saying, test match special, the champagne moment? Dawson bundling one in from close range? I'm not so sure. For me, the moment of the game was the Declan Rice reducer on Henderson. Yeah, but we need to see, I'm not saying half a dozen tackles like that again that get bookings, but if that had happened in the first 3 or 4 minutes, we might have seen a different outcome today. We weren't aggressive enough today. We weren't positive enough.
Mm-hmm.
Our link-up play was poor. Ben Rama didn't influence the game sufficient today, and he wasn't alone in that. I don't think Fornals was great today, and I just think there's a risk of running out of legs.
It's a hard game to pick a man of the match from today, isn't it? When you look back at that,
absolutely, and it would come from either Dawson or Ogbonna, and I'd probably go with Dawson. I'd probably say Dawson again, an on-loan player from a championship club. There you go.
I agree. I mean, you can't really consider anyone else because, as you pointed out rightly, there wasn't really anybody else involved to such a degree where it would have been worth giving them such an award. Just didn't happen today. One of those games.
One of those, and since we've got Carlton Cole on the telly, just in case my mate Richie's watching, I'll just remind you, Richie, that Carlton scored more goals for West Ham United than Frank McAvaney. And that is Richie just chucked his beer can at the telly if he is tuning in. So that's the one stat that winds him up. So there you go.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when we were at the old stadium. The guy I used to sit next to, very, very placid guy. Used to attend with his wife. We used to sit there and talk about football, all the old days and stuff, and reminisce. And he absolutely hated Carlton Cole. I mean, I've never seen anyone get so animated as this guy did when Carlton Cole was brought on, or even, you know, worse in his eyes, started in the game. He absolutely couldn't stand him. Couldn't stand him at all. It's the only time he got really, really animated. Ray, if you're out there, hope you guys are doing well, and all the best to you.
Well, just on that, Graham, I happen to know someone who has some, should we say, some commercial dealings with West Ham United, and he has to come into contact with Carlton Cole rather a lot these days, and always tells Carlton what a great player he thought Carlton was. Well, that must be a different bloke to the one I've stood next to for 20 seasons, and you know,
it's always the way, isn't it?
Yeah, but I won't bubble you, mate. If you're watching, I won't name and shame.
There you go. Carlton Cole, of course, in the news this week. Some people felt he was kind of unfairly used by TalkSport to deliver a kind of pro-board agenda by the station, but maybe we'll get onto that at some point if we have time. I do want to come back now to the point that Gnome was touched upon with regards to West Ham's attitude to this game today. At no point really did West Ham look as if we were prepared to take the match by the scruff of the neck and really go at Liverpool. And you know, we sort of asked, did we sit back too much, or is that just David Moyes in a nutshell against teams that he perceives to be of a greater quality and bigger in stature? Does he just revert to, you know, plan A and sit back and try and soak up the pressure? And, you know, sometimes it works, but is it just a case of it not working today?
There's a different question to that, really. It's, was this the right day to play that way? I mean, yeah, I know we've seen it in the past, but when we've kind of used that tactic or whatever you want to call it in the past, it has been a bit in the past where we've not been playing well, and it's a case of, I mean, if you look at the end of last season, for example, it was a case of, okay, well, these games we'll try and make it difficult for them, see what we can get out of it, and we'll go a bit more gung ho, if you like. Get the likes of Norwich and things like that. Well, yeah, I'm saying a team that has won 4 on the trot in the league and 6 in all games should be looking at the opposition and thinking, well, this isn't Man City, this is Liverpool. Liverpool won't win the league this year. And and it's, well, you know, look at the table. At that point, would they have 1-2 points more than us before kickoff? And we were above them until Tottenham decided to throw in the towel the other night. You know, maybe I'm being unrealistic, but I still think we showed them far too much respect. And we allowed them to do. I mean, look, just showing that last goal again, it was just, we just stood and watched that, and that was the bad old days of last season, where if somebody ran at us, and played it in between us, we just watched the passes, and nobody would take responsibility and try and put a tackle in.
So is that down to the players, the way they performed on the day, or is that a fundamental flaw perhaps in Moyes' psyche in terms of the way he approaches the matches?
Well, we don't know what he told them. If he told them to do that, then it's down to Moyes. If it's a case of, out you go, look, I don't want to see you sitting back like that. I want to see you trying to take the game to them, and they didn't do it, then it's the players. We didn't look like we thought we could get a result today, where in fact we could have. Okay. And that's the thing. And if you go out there, you don't think you can get it. It's not going to happen. Bear with me a second. My battery's about to go, so I've got to plug in the charger.
Okay, no worries. Well, I'll go to Rio on the same point. I mean, Rio, we know it's not David Moyes' fault ultimately. We know that, he's working under severe constraints and that he's working with a tiny squad, a squad that doesn't have a natural striker. The only striker we have in the squad is a converted winger who was a converted fullback in a sense, or a wing back. But do you feel that this one's on Moyes rather than the players?
I think there's a big element of that. Let's be honest, we're not in a relegation battle, are we? Well, we have to be cautious. We have to be more measured in our approach. And after our performances, particularly on Tuesday, where despite the early setback, we played free-flowing, attacking, confident football for nearly 90 minutes. And we absolutely battered a fellow Premiership side who traditionally, over the last few years, we've struggled against. Yeah. But we made them look absolutely stupid the other night. You would have thought, with a little bit more carte blanche to play, a little bit more freedom, he would have said, go out there, express yourself. Make Liverpool have problems. Don't sit back and respect them. Don't sit back and give what is the reigning Premiership champions too much time. Get out there, impose yourself, make them think, make them work. And we've done the complete opposite. The team that went out today was exactly the same starting 11 as it was Tuesday. But in terms of mentality, approach, and seemingly confidence, we weren't even at the races today. It looked like a completely different side. And that's my worry. I mean, I can understand that he doesn't want to shed points, but today was a good opportunity to be a slightly weaker Liverpool team, cause them problems in defence where they're playing with a midfielder and someone who's barely played 10 games for the Liverpool. It's a chance to impose yourself. It's a chance to make a name for yourselves. Get out there, cause them problems, you know? Instead, we kind of like shrink back into ourselves, and it was a safety first approach. And I just completely think that in our situation when we should be pushing on, where the players are full of confidence, let them go out there, let them play their natural game, let them express themselves.
So do you think that's down to the players, or do you think that's Moyes tactically then who's saying, we want to hold you back a little?
I think it's Moyes today, to be honest.
Okay.
Because that's what we saw when we was in the relegation battle last season. That's what we saw at the start of this season, when we were kind of trying to eke out points rather than go on the front foot and attack.
Well, we also saw it, didn't we, against Chelsea? I think it was the same. And but Manchester United was a different story. I'm kind of looking along thinking about the possibility that any club that Moyes perceives to be better technically than West Ham, he kind of falls back into that naturally defensive position. But you couldn't say that, could you? Because against Manchester United, we did exactly what you've just said there, didn't we? We went at them from the off. We went into the break 1-0 up. It could have been 3 or 4. We were so impressive in that first half. Okay, it all fell apart in the second half, but no, you can't say that, can you? So it's not every team that he's done that against. So I guess that makes it even more unfathomable why we played that way today. Yeah,
and particularly, as I said, because we're not in a position now where we have to scrap for points, where we have to go, we've got to watch our backs because we could get relegated here. That's not going to happen this season. So the opportunity was there for let the players go out and do what they did against Manchester United. Take that approach. Take the game to them. Today, it looked like we regressed a few months. And I could get it at the start of his tenure when we were trying to stay up. We're trying to preserve our Premiership status because the financial outcomes of going down are enormous. At the moment, as Pinky said earlier, we're probably budgeted for 17th place. There is no way in the world we're going to finish that low. So anything this season is a bonus. So go out there, play for the points, go on the front foot, attack. Let's make a name for ourselves, We've been getting lots of plaudits in the press on television for the last week after the way that we played over this month and the impressive performance from Tuesday night. And today they're probably sitting there laughing at us, going, it's a waste of airtime, it's a waste of ink. They've made us look mugs. And I think that's how I feel. I think we've made a mug of ourselves today. I'll give Liverpool credit because tactically they got it spot on. They didn't allow us to play that expensive game as much as we wanted to. But our setup was completely wrong. We didn't try and counter that. We just sat back and let them do it. to us and let them bully us tactically.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. I can see you're nearly as disappointed as I am, just by listening to you. Pinky, I mean, Rio said it there. Liverpool got it tactically spot on today. Klopp, as always, very precise in the way he puts out a team and sets his sides up tactically, and we've seen evidence of that again today. Are we being too harsh on David Moyes here and perhaps not giving Klopp and Liverpool enough credit for the way they've played here?
Yeah, perhaps, and another factor that probably hurt us in the second half. Our two main guys in midfield both were sat on yellow cards, and playing Liverpool with 11 players is hard. Try it with 10, So they'd have been fully aware. So they were both kind of neutralised physically after each got the yellow card that they did. But I think overall, for my money today, it was the second goal that killed us, and perhaps this is where we're not giving Liverpool enough credit.
Yeah,
because if I live to be 100, I'm not seeing Shaqiri put another first-time pass that distance so accurately for Mo Salah to pull down with his right peg and finish with the outside of his left. It was a brilliant goal by Liverpool. If we'd scored that goal, we would be banging on about it for months.
Well, I think we were. Well, it reminded me in a sense of the Yarmolenko goal against Chelsea last year. And we
there you go.
Make the most of that, didn't we?
So ultimately, 5 seconds of brilliance following 2 seconds of poor play by us, i.e. the bad corner. Let's not forget, we were attacking. We had the corner. A defensive header cleared it. A pass then out to Shaqiri, who hits the ball first time, pretty much, onto Salah. Thank you, outstanding stuff. And that's ultimately what did us. The second goal killed us, stone dead. And you say heads may have dropped a bit, but before the first goal, we were saying Antonio should have scored. When he turned and got a shot off and he just put it wide.
Yep.
Had he scored at that point, had that gone in and we'd been a goal up, it's a different game. It's a different conversation. So for me, Moyes has been a little bit more cautious today, but our main guy up top did not play well. And today a little bit, we've been... I hesitate to criticise Antonio because I think he's done brilliantly for us this season, bearing in mind his limitations. But when you look at it, the cold light of day, he does have those limitations. Salah today, 2 chances, took them both. Antonio today, no. His biggest contribution today was Antonio actually putting the best cross of the afternoon for us.
Yeah.
From the left-hand side. And of course, he put the ball exactly where he would have wanted to receive it. Yeah. But of course, he then realizes, well, I was crossing it to me, but I've just crossed it kind of thing. And it's that kind of thing that we can't blame the manager for.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination for my money, really. One moment of brilliance by Liverpool. A couple of moments of below average play by our guys. And a generally subdued performance all round. I wouldn't cane Moyes too much, but I'd cane the chairman an awful lot more because I really think the big thing today is they're just looking there going, we're nearly out of bullets, lads, and there's nothing else coming. And it's that simple.
Yeah, I guess it was one of those days. Let's not forget we're playing one of the best club sides in the world still, regardless of the fact that they had a couple of players out. You need everything to go in your favour, the stars to align. You need all your players, at their best. The manager to be, on his game as well to get a positive result in a game like that. And unfortunately, none of that really happened today, did it? It was just one of those things.
We've seen Trent Alexander-Arnold have a bit of a return to form today. Robertson on the other side. These are fullbacks who throughout all of last season were getting rave reviews from every pundit, every journo, every football fan up and down the land. So when we talk about a weakened Liverpool team, yeah, they're short a centre back, but do you know what? We all said Phillips at half time was the player of the first half.
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
So you're saying is Henderson's the weak link there? And we're saying, okay, he's got no Mane up top, but the rest of the weak team, do you know what? We've gone half a season before now having more than just a couple of players out. You know what I mean? It's a weak team when he's got the world's best goalkeeper between the sticks.
Yeah.
Two of the world's best fullbacks on the pitch, one of the world's best strikers on the pitch with pace to burn. A creative player in Shaqiri. Oh yeah, the England player, Jordan Henderson on the pitch. Oh yeah, they were down to bare bones, weren't they? When we're talking about a weakened Liverpool team, it's the relative sense. They could be stronger and normally are, but we're not talking about relegation candidates.
Yeah. I think what I'm getting from all this is just everybody's disappointment, because we all went into this game, didn't we, Gnome, so confident of not necessarily winning, but putting on a decent performance against a top class side. This is a West Ham team that finally, after years perhaps, was in a position to be able to compete. And I get from all of us that we just didn't really do ourselves justice today. And has David Moyes been out yet? Gnome, has he been out to speak? I saw Klopp come out, but
yeah, Klopp, I did write a few things down of what Klopp said, but it basically consisted of the interviewer telling him how wonderful he was. So we won't bother with that.
Okay, Moyes, nothing from Moyes yet.
But as is the usual thing with anything to do with Sky, they had Klopp. They had time to do Klopp. They'd interviewed Moyes, but they decided not to show it. So we've had to change channel to the Sky Sports news channel. So I'm just waiting for it to come up on that, and it's it's one of those things. We've got adverts, we got all sorts of other bits and pieces going across the ticker at the moment. So as soon as it comes on, I'll give you what Moyes has said. They promised the end of the program on Sky Sports 1. They said that there would be interviews with Rice and Moyes, which sort of suggested they already had them in the can, so to speak. But of course, that's got to take second fiddle to telling Klopp how wonderful he was and what a great substitution. And something
we're not bitter. We're not bitter here at all.
We have these kids or something. Oh, it's terrible, isn't it? Who was interviewed him a few weeks back when he was moaning about not getting time off, and the interviewer sort of wasn't having any of it and told him a few stats and saying you've got more rest than everybody else, and it's the same for everyone else. And you're taking the money.
That was Kelly, wasn't it? Was that Des Kelly?
And I can't remember who it was now, but it was brilliant. And that's what I want to see. It's so depressing seeing interviewers sort of pussyfooting around. Why not go for it? Say what you mean. It's I mean, you probably wouldn't last very long, would you? I suppose. Yeah, you wouldn't. You turn up for the next match and there'd be an instruction. You wouldn't have a press pass, and to get in. But it was hilarious. It was great watching, and there should be more of that.
Yeah, I think sycophancy definitely seems to be quite high on the list of requirements for some of these journalists. Was it not Des Kelly? No.
Well, it was. I think it was. You're right there. Yeah. Okay. And have you seen him since?
That's a very good point. Yeah. I think he's.
I mean, if there's a new road being built in Liverpool somewhere, is he propping up a flyover somewhere?
Yeah, I was just going to say the Scouse equivalent of the Canning Town flyover. Who knows? And we'll come back to that in a minute. Keep an eye on that for us, if you will. Then hopefully we'll get something from David Moyes before we call it a day, which is going to be fairly shortly. There's a couple of things I want to go through first of all. One of the things I want to go through, of course, are the views from the respective fan bases. Rio. Pinky said that he wouldn't cane David Moyes too much following today's defeat. I'm not so sure that's going to be a sentiment echoed by some of our fellow fans on the KUMB.com forum match thread right now.
Yeah, there's a bit of a mixture. There's some protection of him, Some being pragmatic and realistic about our proposition at the moment. Some give them a lot of stick. There's a few comments just coming through. Profit margin will put, irritated by the match winning second because the fine margin basis. We didn't deserve to be scored like that. It's funny, really. We're all buoyed by the no-show of Mane and Firmino, but it was a league top scorer who put us to the sword anyway. For me, it's operation onwards and upwards. No looking back. Unbeaten at Villa Park, any kind of result at Fulham, and this time we just chalk up to experience. They're still doing brilliantly. Ding put, we need to be good to beat this lot, but instead we were woeful. Liverpool was incredibly good. We didn't have the belief. We didn't deserve anything. Let's just move on. Wayne Pin, but positives were, we're not complaining about VAR, the ref, or about their cheating as usual. The press by their forwards left us with either Dawson or the keeper hoofing the ball up to an isolated Antonio, and we lost the ball. They played through us again. It seems Klopp got his tactics spot on, and we were overrunning midfield, and the defence had no time on the ball. This then means that Bowen, the 4 hours, Benrahma, Antonio never got into the game properly. Hopefully this is a one-off, as I'm sure Villa will be licking the lips watching us today and playing into the same system. A very good post by Danny Boy DGL. Having Dawson, Ogbon and Cresswell starts to hurt when you play against a team we place. Same reason Rashford constantly kept getting in behind us. They are good defenders, but a simple long ball leads to chance after chance against them. We really suffer by being pressed as well. Usually when we can't pass out, we relieve pressure by playing it back to the centre-backs and then teams back off. But today they didn't, they just kept on pressing. We aren't good enough to compete with the better teams. Our record this year shows it. We are well organised, but when it comes to the better teams, we start to lose individual battles because they are better physically. Coops put, I thought the lads looked very nervy from the start. We were far too deep and we weren't pressing them in their own half. Liverpool have quality all over the park, but also they have the belief that only the top teams really have. Our belief was lacking tonight. I don't think we should be too hard on Moyes or the team. What we have achieved this season has been amazing. Wednesday is massive for us though. If we can bounce back against Villa, that will say much more about where we are than tonight's game. So there's a lot of kind of balanced opinions coming through. I think people are realising that despite the fact that it was a so-called weak Liverpool side, and we could have exploited a little bit more than we did, there are still positives to take. We've got to look at the bigger picture, where we are in the league, how far we've come under the Moyes journey so far.
Okay, good stuff. Well, as always, Rio, thank you for summarising the opinion and the moods on the KUMB.com forum match thread. I'm sure there'll be much more to come in terms of what's happened today on there. So dive in if you haven't already done so and see what people are saying and let us know what you think about the game yourself. Of course, you can also use the YouTube live chat to let us know what you thought. We're reading a few of your comments out in a few moments. And of course, don't forget, if you've enjoyed what you've seen here today and enjoy these streams, give us a little like. There's a thumbs up button just down there somewhere. Give it a little flick if you can with your keyboard or your finger if you're using your mobile phones, just to let us know that you enjoy what we're doing. Let's have a quick look at the Liverpool forum before we move on. Pinky has kindly been keeping an eye on red and white cop for us this afternoon, bar the odd strange statements such as wishing a broken leg on their main striker. What else have the Scouts has been saying, Pinky?
And to be fair to the rest of the posters on that particular website, they've called that individual out and said, you know, what kind of low-life scum are you? And I'll make them absolutely right on that. But over in Red and White Cop, you've got a poster called God's Left Boot, who's saying 3 absolute gems for our goals. Great individual play, lethal counter, beautiful intricate build-up. Really did it. So you can't really argue that. What else we got here? Yeah, thought Nat had a good game and Jones was a game changer when he came on. Exactly what Rio had pointed out. Pleased that Alexander-Arnold and Bobby played well after the stick they've taken on here, and love the Klopp and Milner reaction at his substitution, because Milner clearly wasn't happy when he got taken off. Of course, instantly Liverpool score, then suddenly him and Klopp are hugging and kissing, so to speak. Well, I guess they're like that on Merseyside. I mean, in fairness to both Red and White Cop and LFC Reds, they're focusing purely on the Liverpool performance, barely a word about West Ham United. So, you know, it's I think you'll have fairly slim pickings for the opposition view this week somehow.
I might even give it a miss after that, after what we've seen today. But a couple of thank you, Pinky, for keeping an eye on those for us this afternoon and throughout the game. A couple of comments coming in on the live chat on YouTube. Hobo says we just haven't got the players against the top sides. No matter how much we like them, Antonio, Bowen, and Ben Rama lose the ball too frequently and too easily. Sam K saying that Moyes says he wants to go for the red ball model, but yet brings past it Mark Noble off the bench when the game is already over, and leaves young Meepo on the bench. Obviously not happy with that one. Steve Page says that this game felt a bit like the 2-0 defeat against Chelsea in Christmas 2014. We played well and were on a bit of a run, then put out a performance that was almost apologetic. And we lost the game before it started. It kind of felt a little bit like that, didn't it, today, Steve? Definitely a very valid point, I think. We're coming close to the end of this afternoon's streams. Finished West Ham United 1, Liverpool 3. West Ham's first defeat of 2021 and following 6 consecutive wins. Gnome, have we had anything from Moisey yet down there?
I think it's going to be in the next few minutes. They're showing the goals on Sky Sports News now.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what we'll do.
And they're probably going to go back to the original interview with Klopp, and then they'll cut back to that. It's just coming up. They've got Klopp on now.
Okay, well, let me ask you quickly then, if I may, about the next thing I wanted to touch on, and if it goes to Moyes, we can move on to somebody else. I wanted to touch on the transfer window. Of course, as we all know, the winter transfer window closes Monday night, 11 p.m. West Ham. David Moyes has said that he does have money to spend, or David Sullivan has intimated that we have money to spend, and David Moyes seems to think that there isn't likely to be anyone else coming in. What do you think about that? Do you think there's any likelihood of that elusive striker maybe joining the squad?
I'd be very surprised. The Lingard's wages are going to be aren't going to be tuppence halfpenny because where he's come from. We just go back to that another one of those "How Wonderful Are You" interviews with Jim White back in earlier on in the season when we sold Diangana, and Sullivan came on and said, we had 8 wingers or 7 wingers on the books or something. Yeah. So what happens? Diangana goes. We bring in Ben Rama and Lingard. So now we've got 8. So you can never have enough wingers, but we've got no strikers. And Antonio, bless him, he's worked his socks off. He's been absolutely superb in what he's done. But today was one of those days where you saw a converted winger playing up front, and it's. Sometimes he looks the part, but today it was a converted winger. And it's people are just saying, the Liverpool lot, and they were saying how great Alexander-Arnold played today. And I thought, well, when he was tested, he looked terrible, but we didn't test him enough. And a couple of times, Ben Rama almost had him a couple of times late on. Yeah. And when Antonio had him, it was, he was terrified. So, striker coming in, I'd love one. Proper striker. Can I see it? I don't know. Can't see it happening. David Sullivan says there's money to spend. Well, why aren't they actively looking? If Moyes doesn't think that there is, and he says that there is, can't both be right.
Okay. Thank you. No, Rio, do you go along with Gnome? I mean, it seems bizarre to me that any team could only have one dedicated striker on the books in Seb Haller, sell him at the beginning of the transfer window and not replace him. But is this what West Ham are about to do?
It looks very much that way. And then the other club, I'd say I'm surprised, but not us. We all know that our transfer policy has been a bit of a shambles from year to year under our ownership at the moment. It's always papering over cracks one year. And when you realise you have a deficiency in one position, you overstock. So I'm fully expecting us in the summer window to sign 8 strikers and not strengthen anywhere else, because that's what we do. We always overstock in the positions we were deficient the year before. We haven't got a cohesive transfer policy. And with the lack of funds available, I just can't see anything changing in the current future. I certainly can't see a striker coming in. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I just really, really can't see it. Again, like I said about the Lingard thing, I mean, I couldn't understand the signing in the first place. He's not someone I wanted, but you've got to trust Moyes because his record in the transfer market has been exceptional for us. But I just couldn't understand the mentality about bringing in another attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
When we're clearly short of a left back, we're clearly short of covering central midfield. As for up front, we're at least 3 bodies short, in my opinion. So it just doesn't make sense. Our entire transfer policy under the current ownership has not made sense since they come into the club.
Okay. Pretty damning stuff from Rio there. But this is where we are. Yet another attacking midfielder coming in on loan, Pinky, in the shape of Jesse Lingard. We obviously wish Jesse all the very best in a West Ham shirt and hope he goes on to be a huge success. But no goal scorer. And do you buy the line that David Moyes does have money to spend, but doesn't want to spend it because he wants to wait for the summer? Do you think that's feasible? Likely?
Yeah, I do. One thing we've seen from Moyes, Moyes version 2, is when he says, I want that player, he wants that player. He doesn't want a player. Yep. He doesn't want someone that can do a job. He doesn't want any one of the 3. It's that player. And, where he's spent money, Kufal, Souček, Bowen, he's been proved right. Absolutely right. I'm actually comfortable waiting till the summer, if that is the coherent plan that the manager and the chairman are going with between them. So both statements could be true. Okay. There is money to spend, but there isn't enough money to spend right now, because let's say there's 10 million quid in the kitty now. To get a striker who's going to score you some goals, let's say 13 goals in a season in the Premier League, that's 50 million quid. Yeah, that will be the entire summer budget plus whatever we've got in January. Yeah, so we're going to get to spend it once, but if we spend it once on the right caliber of player and the player we really want, then I've got no problem waiting another 20 games for that person to arrive. I've been saying for a while I thought Giroud would arrive on loan this window. He still might. It wouldn't necessarily surprise me. So I think that's a possibility. There was talk of actually Chelsea even releasing Giroud as a goodwill gesture.
Yeah.
Maybe with the new manager, who knows? He'll have his own ideas, but I certainly think I'd rather wait and get the right player than any old player, because we've committed to spending £30 million on Benrahma. Wasn't great today. The other night, most people gave him rave reviews. So are we going to write him off? No, I don't think so. We give him time to adjust and all the rest of it. But we need that focal point in the attack. We need someone that can drag defenders left and right, run all night, do all those things. And then when they get the chance, they don't miss it. And we saw today, okay, Mane's out, but Firmino, their manager, chose to leave him out. That was a choice that they made. Most of the clubs at the top end of the table have got a couple of choices. Yeah. We've seen today Leicester City go down. I don't think Vardy played today, did he? So they haven't got the right calibre of replacement for Vardy. So it isn't easy getting the strikers, the ones that really make the difference, and they're not cheap. So I'd rather we say we'll build a nice little kitty, go and get the player the manager really wants in the summer, and then go again next year. It's disappointing because we've done well this season, but I don't want another player coming in who isn't quite good enough. You know, if we're going to spend a fee on a player, get the right player. I've got no problem with someone coming in on a freebie, just giving them wages, but the transfer fee kitty, have a proper kitty, have a proper pot, and say, player X, he's who I want, go get him.
He's the one. Yeah. Okay. I just want to point out, of course, that Leicester's backup to Vardy is Iheanacho, who is a player that I believe cost them in excess of £20 million when they bought him in from Man City. So, you know, there is a little bit of a difference there. But yeah, I mean, the point you're making is a valid one, of course. It is not quite.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A first team starter as a striker, it's 50 million quid.
Yeah.
You know, it's we talk about £20 million players as if they are magic. For a player that's playing up top, £20 million is getting you nothing. Look what Arsenal have been spending on strikers in recent years.
Yep. Everton too. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and maybe as we as supporters need to understand, 20 million quid isn't a whole hill of beans for a striker. You know, it starts at 50 million and goes north. Liverpool today, what do they spend on a goalkeeper? Was it 70 million?
72 million, something crazy, wasn't it? Madness, absolute madness. Yeah, but there it is. That is, of course, the difference between us and them. And no, we were full of hope at the start of the game. It's not worked out, and we're all quite despondent now. But anyway, we move on, and hopefully it is just a blip for West Ham United. Gnome, I'm guessing we've still got nothing from Mr. Moyes.
We had the Klopp interview in all its stomach-churning, sycophantic glory, they then went on to interview Mourinho, whose game hasn't even happened yet, and now we've got an advert. Somebody tried to sell me free mortgage advice at the moment with some swans, and there's a very weird advert on now, which I'm sure that was just Diet Coke I was drinking. Oh, it's for yogurts. Okay.
No, listen, I've got to point this out, no, because I have, it's been bothering me all afternoon. You've got a different camera angle today for the first time.
I've got a different table. I've been doing some stuff around the house, and I've got a different table. And so I also have moved the laptop from the kitchen table over here for the time being, because it's over there during the week for weekdays for work. So I leave it over there. So laptop there, camera there, and there's a gap in between so I can see the telly. So, yeah.
There you go. So, there it is. In case anyone else was wondering, like myself, Gnome has been doing his domestic chores over the last few days. But no, we normally get the stairs and the CD rack, don't we? But we've got...
Well, the CD rack is when I'm sat at the kitchen table, because I've got an all-in-one sort of general living area, if you like. So kitchen table, CD rack, telly, bookcase.
Well, it's just grand designs now.
Well, I don't bring it up.
Have I drifted onto the wrong show?
Just seen Dion Dublin walking in the background there, yeah.
They brought it up. So no, you get the CD rack when I'm watching a match on the laptop. So I have to sit over there because that's where the laptop usually is. But when it's the telly's there, and I've got 2 Wharfdales, 2 surround Wharfdales, centre speaker, subwoofer, and my neighbours absolutely hate me. So,
well, there you go. I bet you didn't think you were going to be getting a tour of the Gnome homestead this afternoon, but there it is.
Interesting than what Klopp had to say. Anyway.
That is just about it for this afternoon's stream. So thank you to everybody for joining us. And as I said, if you haven't already done so, if you can give us a little click on the thumbs up just underneath the stream there, that helps us out. I'm not quite sure how actually, but I'm told it does. Anyway, one more thing I want to touch on before we go, gentlemen. Games coming thick and fast, as we've been saying for a few weeks this season.
Tell me about it.
As Gnome's aware, having to write some editorial for the site. It's only 4 days until we travel to the Midlands for our next Premier League encounter against Aston Villa. Villa, of course, a side that have been doing pretty well this year for a team that shouldn't really, by rights, have been in the Premier League at all this season. They, of course, put 7 past West Ham's opponents this afternoon earlier in the season, in probably not just the freak result of the season, but the freak result of the century. And the last one as well, probably, when they beat Liverpool 7-2. West Ham have to go there and need to bounce back, don't we, Rio, when we go up there on Wednesday? How do you see that one going? Do you think this is going to be a really tough game for the Hammers?
I think it will be now. I think all the confidence that we had beforehand, all the momentum we built up has just evaporated overnight. So we've got to regroup. I think there'll be some stern words on the training ground over the next couple of days, and rightfully so. This is going to be a lot about our mentality rather than our ability, I think. Mm-hmm. The way we bounce back from today's game, after being on such a great run, it's going to speak volumes to the coaching staff to get the players back on track, back focused, and get that confidence flowing through. Because it looked like before today, everyone was on the same page. Everyone was happy. Everyone was excited by the way that the club were playing, and we were approaching games. Today, we took a massive step back. So I just hope that Moyes, Irving, Nolan, Pearce, they grabbed the players together and just reinforced the things that we've been doing so well over the last month. Today was a massive setback. Let's move on from it. Let's just hope the coaching staff can get that message through.
Yes, let's hope they can. And it's a really important game now for West Ham. Of course, that one on Wednesday, isn't it, Pinky? It's a really tough one. We need to, as I said, if we want to keep fighting for a European spot. It's a game we've got to go and get something from at least.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 3 league games on the spin that you say, do you know what? You'd want at least 7 points from 9 from those games, the next 3 league games. Yeah. Not least because if you look at the 4 following league matches, there's some pretty tough games afterwards. So if you don't get the points now, getting them in a month's time is going to be a whole lot harder. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we've got to go to Villa Park. They're a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team this season, Aston Villa. Yeah. Early doors, they were showing great form, but actually in recent times, I think they've picked up the win this weekend, but in recent times, they've not been all that. And I think, we've got a decent chance as long as we can get the team playing more like we did against Crystal Palace than we did against Liverpool, and that's about being positive. Villa have got 1 or 2 players who I quite like. I think McGinn I'd take all day long from them. I really would. So they're not mugs, but I just get a feeling that they've gone off the boil. Really, we've gone off the boil now, and that's probably going to end in a draw. There you go. I'll call a draw for the Wednesday night.
Rio, I get the feeling Villa might think they owe us one after what happened earlier in the season. We of course beat them 2-1, but given or excluding perhaps Newcastle and what we've seen today, I've got that up there as one of our weakest performances of the season so far. And how we ended up with 3 points from that game is anyone's guess. Yeah,
absolutely. It was a shocker, but I mean, as I just said, it's all about mentality for us. I just hope that the amount of games we've played so far with such a small squad hasn't resulted in tired legs, because tired legs also creates tired minds. And when you get the combination of both, you start to struggle. I think Villa will expect probably to be favourites. But if we can regroup properly, I see no reason why we shouldn't win. I don't think it's going to be a classic.
Yeah,
I think it'll be a scrappy 1-0 win either way. But I'm hopeful that we can be the ones who are victorious. I expect a much bigger performances from at least 5 or 6 of our players, particularly in the attacking department. So I'm hoping that today's defeat spurs them on rather than kind of knocks them back.
Yeah, you kind of hope that West Ham are a little bit hurt by what's happened today. And yeah, as Rio says, it can spur them on to greater things on Wednesday night at Villa Park. I do believe, Gnome, we might have something from David Moyes at long last. Is that right?
I've got a couple of lines from BBC Sport. I haven't actually had the video stuff.
Well, let's end with that.
Yeah, just said it was tight. We found it hard against Liverpool. We were better in the first half, but didn't show enough composure at times against a really good side. We've been in good form. We came into the game with a lot of confidence. That's the difference at this level, and it shows. We're trying to catch a few teams up, not Liverpool, that's for sure. Players have been excellent. Even today, it's a lesson for them. The levels we have to get to. We didn't do the things we usually do well today. Yeah, I mean, that smacks of we're trying to catch a few teams up, not Liverpool, that's for sure. That's where the lack of ambition is. You know, why shouldn't we be trying to catch Liverpool up?
Yeah.
You know, it's because it's Liverpool. Yeah, it's the BBC and Sky induced hype. You know, that there's something special. I mean, in between thing, they've just Sky have just said, oh, we've got a big documentary that available now on Liverpool. Well, yeah, they've won the league once in 30 years. You know, they're not that special. Much as they're only special because Sky and BBC are telling you so. You know, if anybody else, it's well, you've only won the league once in 30 years. Leicester have only won it. Have won it the same amount of times and the same thing. That's yeah. Well, why isn't there such a buzz about them? So, yeah, inferiority complex we went at that game with, and that's and if you go into games like that, talking of Villa on Wednesday is Wednesday, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Wednesday. It's a case of he's got to turn on that swagger, that confidence, that we had for Palace and we've had in recent weeks. And he's got to be able to turn that back on. Yeah, Pinky said Leicester have had they've been a little bit bumpy. They've not been helped by the fact that they had 2 games off postponed because of COVID. So they're a couple of games behind the thing anyway. So I thought we were very lucky to beat them at home earlier on this season, as you said. I thought they were equally lucky to get away with a 1-0. You were talking about it early on with the VAR stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they was equally as lucky to get away with that. So I think we can win. I think if we can get switch that back on from the swagger we had back on a couple of weeks ago, get Palace and all that. But this is where Mr. Moyes earns his money, getting them up after that. And instead of telling them, hard luck, lads, you were beaten by a better team, he should be turning around going, you did not do yourselves justice there. And, you've got to believe in yourselves, because I don't think, when you look for that, I didn't see anybody out there today thinking that they were going to win that game. And, so you've got to sort of say, look, they are reality check. If you switch off, if you go in inferiority complex, you're going to get beat 3-1 by a team who, for all the money, aren't going to win it this year.
Okay. Well, there it is. As I said, we're all slightly disappointed. Well, no, we're not slightly disappointed. We're hugely disappointed because West Ham have lost. And none of us like watching West Ham lose, especially to Liverpool. But credit where it's due, Jurgen Klopp's side doing a number on the Hammers out there today, winning 3-1 at the London Olympic Stadium. All the goals coming in the second half. Liverpool's goals coming in the 57th. The 68th and the 84th minute, West Ham grabbing a late consolation through the prolific Craig Dawson with his third goal for the Hammers since moving to the club. It must put him up there with one of the best goals to games ratios at the club this season, I would imagine. But anyway, we will be back with you on Wednesday night, as Gnome says. It's West Ham United against Aston Villa. We're hoping to see a bit more. Gnome called it swagger. Let's have a bit of that West Ham swagger back. Come on, you Irons. A bit of that belief that we've had in the last few weeks wasn't there today, but you know, you can't win them all. So we move on. We march on. A blip for West Ham, hopefully, and it's to Birmingham, to Aston specifically on Wednesday nights, and hoping for a Hammers bounce back. Until then, my thanks to Rio, to the Pink Palermo, and to Gnome for their company this afternoon. And of course, to all of you on the live stream. We're off to the KUMB.com match thread to see what everyone's been saying about this afternoon's game. Until Wednesday, it's goodbye from us. We'll see you all again very, very soon. Come on, you Irons.